Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Market Close. It is Friday. when it's Friday, everyone's just ready to end, and so I guess it's Friday. We don't even know how to talk at the end of the day. It is Friday, July 19th, 3:46 p.m. What an incredible market! There is so much going on as we get into the market close. Not only do we have Bitcoin that's surging right now, it's quite interesting that the entire market not is collapsing, but obviously is red, and the safety is Bitcoin. That's where people are going. So we're going to talk about that. Number two, Crowdstrike. I bought some Crowdstrike. I'll talk about my analysis on why I bought Crowdstrike. Not a lot, 5 shares, but I'll go through some of the analysis for what I saw and whether it's a good buy or bad buy. We'll find out in the next coming weeks. But I want to talk about Crowdstrike. And then we got a bunch of other things happening literally 15 minutes before we started. We had HIMS that got hit with an FTC investigation. HIMS was down 4% on the day. Then it recovered most of that. It was down like 30 cents by like 325, 330. FTC drops an investigation. They're down 5%. Again, not sure why they're down 5%. I'll find out, but it is under $20. HIMS continuing to deal with a bunch of random things like short reports, FTC investigations. So we'll see what happens there. And then Schwab has been down the entire day. Schwab has just not been good today. And so we had Robinhood unofficially respond to what's happening with Schwab. So I'll show you guys that in a little bit. Vlad responded on Twitter, and it was kind of funny. But a lot of stuff happening right now and a lot to get into. So let's start off with Crowdstrike. I want to talk about that first, and then we'll get into everything else. I think we'll also have Steve in about 20 minutes join the show, and he'll talk about what's going on with the markets and also cybersecurity, because his job, he got affected by this Crowdstrike stuff happening today as well. Okay, so Crowd. I purchased 5 shares at 307. The idea is to purchase another 5 shares at 285. So average would be 296. And that would be the DCA. Obviously, 10 shares, not a massive position. By the way, MicroStrategy, I'm just seeing it right now, up 13%. That is crazy. But in general, why did I do this? Well, it was a couple of things. I actually looked at a few metrics that I liked in comparison to some of the other cybersecurity names after I looked at their metrics. And it was kind of easy to be like, well, wait a second. They're growing faster than all the other cybersecurity names. And I always knew this, but I always thought the valuation was stupid. I still kind of think the valuation is stupid. But as we're seeing with a lot of companies, if the growth is there, the valuation can get stupid and the premium can get higher. On top of that, the world shut down today. So here's the growth I was looking at. But while I'm bringing this up, from a qualitative perspective, the world shutting down today because of Crowdstrike going down, to me, is ridiculously bullish. And either I'm going to be wrong about that or right about that, but that is just screaming bullish to me. I'm like, well, wait a second. Airports, hotels, television networks, hospitals, unfortunately hospitals, but all of these institutions shut down. They can't get into anything that they need to do today to make the world go round because Crowdstrike had a bug in deploying their software. I think this is going to make the company even better in the future. This is like same thing with Robinhood, right? They messed up. They became better. It took a couple years. I think Crowdstrike, it's not going to take a couple years because this was a bug. And so if Crowdstrike can just really kind of hone in their engineering culture, figure out why this bug happened so that it doesn't happen again, I think that makes them stronger. Number two, everyone is saying in terms of the bear case, the people that disagree with my decision to buy 5 shares, that customers will leave because of this incident that happened. And that is the contrarian bet that I like taking right now. I don't think that's the case. I think customers are not going to leave. I think customers are only going to reinforce their relationship with Crowdstrike. And I actually think customers are going to be more willing to engage with Crowdstrike, primarily because of how important it is. Like, I think if you're on Crowdstrike and you're a hospital right now and you're a big hospital, I don't think it's that easy to be like, see ya, we're going to Palo Alto Networks overnight, or see ya, we're going to Fortinet. I mean, you went to Crowdstrike for a reason. And if that reason ended up, not being the best reasons of today because they had a bug, does that mean you leave completely? Will there be some people that left Robinhood and went to Schwab after Robinhood did the GameStop stuff? Of course. I think transferring your brokerage is a lot easier than transferring your entire cybersecurity infrastructure. So if anything, I think the short-term headwinds are lawsuits, potentially having to pay out settlements, potentially having to structure deals in a way that gives people some sweet, discounts over the next couple of years to kind of make up for what happened. I don't know if that establishes that growth, which is at 35% year over year. It is higher than I think Palo Alto is at 19%. higher than all the other competitors. I don't know if that goes away. Their net income is up 8,400% year over year. Obviously, they weren't profitable for the past 9 quarters. They just started becoming profitable, which is what I like. 72% operating income growth, subscription growth 34%, free cash flow 42% year over year. So they're starting to really generate cash from the business itself. It's not only being spent in operating expenses that are like over determining their capacity to meaningfully recognize free cash flow. So and then the ending ARR, 33% year-over-year growth, 2.7 billion last quarter to 3.6 billion this quarter. I mean, that's just pretty damn incredible. If growth slows down because of this incident, then yeah, there's going to be a nasty dip even in the future. But I don't think that necessarily happens. And I think that's the nice contrarian bet that I like here, that all the bears on Twitter are like, well, everyone's going to leave to Palo Alto. I'm like, no, they're not. Like, I'm willing to say that. Now, Bank of America, they have a $400 price target. They came out with a note today, and they said, while this defect was an unfortunate event, we do not believe it will have any long-term impacts on CrowdStrike. An update has already been pushed out to customers, and CrowdStrike is proactively working to justify the situation or to rectify it. The impact of the software defect underscores how many enterprises globally rely and trust CrowdStrike with their security needs, and we believe CrowdStrike will continue to be the security platform of choice given its best-in-class products. I will admit, I don't understand anything about the products. I'm just going to say that right here. I have not studied CrowdStrike that in depth. However, when there's a nasty dip on a really elite name, I don't have all the time in the world to do due diligence in terms of the actual tech, but I can see just from understanding the business itself that they are important, they are reliable, and that falling. So let's go to the chart now. The chart is very interesting to me, and then falling as much as it did gets me a bit excited. So year to date, CrowdStrike started the year at 238. They got to a high of, call it 398. Now they're back at 304. They got to 270 in the pre-markets, but let's call it 304 right now. The last time they got to this level was June 4th. And the last time they got to that level after running up and then falling back down was March 5th. So they've been trying to get into the 380s, 390s, and then every time something happens, whether it's, growth slows down, macro, or something like today, kind of a black swan event, and they really tend to bounce in this 290 to 300 range. And so that's why the first 5 shares were at 305, next 5 shares will be at 285, because if we get below 285, then maybe we've got some problems. But as we saw today, the market was just not willing to let it get there. It stayed at 285 really in the pre-markets. And then as soon as it opened, we saw it opened at 315 and the dip was bought. And then it came back down to 304, hit 298 again. But I think this 300 range is not the worst range to get excited a little bit about CrowdStrike as well. It's not a nasty dip. I tried to just say your Thomas. I failed at that. It erased 1 month, man. No, well, so to me, it didn't erase 1 month. And this was the fun thing about the chart. It got to these levels before in March. And so now it's erasing other months of gains, even though it went up and down. So technically it erased 1 month. But if you look at it from a full year perspective, it's erasing a couple of different peaks that it always gets to, but then something happens when it comes back down. So I don't know. I like it right here. And just from a chart perspective, if we break below 290, I think the S&P is going to have a little bit more weakness, or CrowdStrike is going to have to say, hey, our sales are going down. S&P at 548 right now, down 0.75%. And our sales are going down primarily because customers don't trust us anymore. So our 35% revenue growth is going to go down to 32% or 29%. That would be pretty bad for the stock. And it did get included into the S&P 500, which also pushed it up higher to that 390 range last month. So a dip in the growth would justify a dip in the premium. I just don't believe a dip in the growth is coming. I think lawsuits are coming. They're going to have to pay out some money. Sure, all that settlements. I don't think they're going to stop growing. And that is the difference that I have, I guess, with some of the bears on this name. Now, granted, it's 5 shares, so we'll see what happens. But I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting to see how it's playing out. Why is HIMS crashing? So HIMS just got a lawsuit HIMS down 4.7% by the FTC. I don't know what the FTC investigation is. No one on Twitter knows yet. We just got the notification, but no one knows why. They got sued. I'm assuming it has to do something with the Ozempic stuff, the GLP drugs. That was like, well, I would imagine that was the stuff that tanked it last time on the short report. So if there was any reason the FTC is opening an investigation, maybe it's because of how they're engaging in this like OTC version of Ozempic with their GLP-1 drugs. But outside of that, I have no idea. The FTC also is very interesting. Not the FDA, the FTC. That's like the FTC is investigating Amazon right now for antitrust. So like, why is the FTC investigating HIMS? I mean, it's very weird. If anyone has any theories in the chat, let me know. but I have no idea. Starbucks is flying because Elliott Management put a stake in Starbucks. So I think it's like a 7% stake, maybe a little bit less than that, but Starbucks right here up 6.8% because Elliott Management is now investing in the stock. I think it's a good idea. I think you need discipline in that company. You need an activist investor. You need someone to kind of like reorient how the company's operating. That CEO had a horrible interview 3 months ago on CNBC when they were trying to explain why the stock is, why the company's just not performing. So I think it's a good idea. Investors at least are showing some trust today that Elliott is going to rewrite the ship. And that's why Starbucks is gaining momentum. However, I don't know if Starbucks has solved all of its issues. The China exposure is bad. The subscriptions going down year over year is bad. The coffee being just too expensive is bad. I mean, I haven't gone to a Starbucks in like 2 months, dude. Like, I don't know if Starbucks necessarily is done with their issues, but activist investors is not the worst thing in the world to see for Starbucks. Yeah. So let's transition to Bitcoin real quick. MicroStrategy. I haven't seen it all day, but MicroStrategy up 14.5% is just incredible. This is because Bitcoin is at 67,359. Robinhood right here is at 2342. I think Robinhood's coiling up. A breakout on Bitcoin I thought would have shot Robinhood a little bit higher into the 2450s, but I think because the market's down, again, same thing in the morning, it's kind of hard for it to really shoot up. But I think it's coiling up, and we have a good earnings, good Bitcoin price action. Robinhood probably does a lot better. S&P at 548, HIMS at 1930, MicroStrategy at 1777. MicroStrategy again was at almost 1100 about 3 weeks ago. So really nice gain on MicroStrategy, and that's because Bitcoin went all the way down from 53,800 to 67,200. Now the S&P, if it closes red, which in 3 minutes it looks like it's going to close red, is going to be red 3 days in a row for the first time in a long time, which I actually like. I really like that. I mean, I think would we rather want the S&P at 570 right now or a measly 548? I mean, it's only going to be up 16% instead of 20% year to date going into the end of July. Like, I don't know, dude. I don't think that's a big deal at all. I think that's actually very reasonable. It keeps things in check. And if we can bounce from these levels, even if we hit 535 and then we make our way back to the 5,800 level by August or by October, November, I think that's very reasonable. So I would be a little bit more worried if it was pumping at 570. Everyone would be anticipating a crash. Now getting a little bit of just a break and allowing new money to enter that hasn't been in the markets this year. I don't think that's a big deal at all. Bitcoin right here, 67,372. Nvidia down 2.5%. Let's look at the Max 7 Palantir as well. Basically flat on the day. We touched 29.40-ish on the day. 29.30-ish. But now it's at 28.62, just down a little bit right here. So Mag 7 right now, Microsoft's down, Meta's up, Google's up, Google below 180 though. Amazon's down, Nvidia's down, Tesla's down, Tesla 239. We'll talk about Tesla. I actually don't know why Tesla's down. I feel like it has to do something with Trump, but the market thinks Elon and Trump are bullish. So I don't know why today, they feel like it's not bullish. It has to be because of Trump's EV comments yesterday. And sure, but we all knew that already. But I guess the market is digesting it. If anything, maybe Tesla's just selling off because the broader market's selling off. And Tesla's obviously had a phenomenal run since the 138 range. But Tesla is down on the day as well. And then Apple right here, 224, down from about 235 earlier on Monday. Oh, shout out to Derek Wall in the chat. I was on a phone call with Derek just a couple hours ago. Derek says California sales are bad. Yeah, that is one thing I've been seeing as well. And this is why I think Elon doesn't care that Trump's getting elected, because he knows that if our sales are not the best, then other companies are definitely not going to survive. And if other companies need the subsidy, but we don't, then they're dead. They're toast. If Rivian can't get a gross profit margin on their cars in the next 6 quarters without the subsidy, they're definitely not going to be able to make a margin. And if Elon believes that they're not selling cars, they're selling rides in the future, Trump being president probably doesn't matter. 4 p.m., July 19th. Thank you, everybody, for being here. The stock market is now closed. All right, let's see what we got on this market close. Then we got a lot to talk about and discuss. Also, we got a beautiful clip by Meta's founder, Mark Zuckerberg, that I think everyone's going to want to see. It was pretty hilarious. So crypto right here, all the crypto stocks did great today. Robinhood up 2.5%. Bitfarms is up. MicroStrategy ends the day up 14%. Bitcoin, 67,000. Wow, we just got a nasty red candle on Bitcoin. Look at that. We were at 67.4. Now we're at 67.03. So someone just sold a ton of Bitcoin right there, recovering a little bit right here at 67.1, but we are up from 53,000 2 weeks ago, which is a good thing for Bitcoin. And this was in the face of Mt. Gox selling a crap ton of Bitcoin and Germany liquidating 42,000 Bitcoin. So nice to see that Bitcoin's eating it up like a champ and just getting ready to move forward. CleanSpark was up 4% today. Coinbase, nice action there, up 10.5%. Ride was up a little bit, 9.6%. And then Marathon was up 4.5%. SoFi didn't have the best day, although it held up. It didn't go below 7, which I think is a win for SoFi, and it's up 20% from the lows, 748 on SoFi. Again, rate cuts are going to be the most important thing for SoFi going into September. They do have earnings in about a week from now, last weekend of July, or last Monday of July. So we're going to see what happens there in the context of SoFi. Palantir closes 28.57, down 0.24% on the day. Where did Crowdstrike close? Crowdstrike closed at 305. So I bought at 307, down $2 a share. Next buy will be at 285 if it gets there. I kind of, unless they come out by saying growth is slowing down or settlements are increasing or they're getting sued out the wazoo, I really don't know if the street lets it go down to the 250s, 260s. If it does, I think it's a buy the dip even there. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of appetite for cybersecurity. I really think my elementary analysis here is that them going out of power today showed how important they are. And that just means they're not going to lose their clients. It's not that easy to go to Palo Alto. And they picked CrowdStrike over Palo Alto 3 years ago if you signed a deal with them for a reason. And so if it's not as easy to switch, then I think this is an unfortunate instance for CrowdStrike, but this is not a catastrophic situation for the stock. NVIDIA 118, Fortinet was up about 0.6% today. Palo Alto up 2.16%. Netflix here at 634. Netflix got upgraded to 758 on the day by what firm upgraded them? They not Morgan Stanley. Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo says 758. We think it's a clean story, consistent growth, and we think the net ads will be better after the paid sharing, like after the fact that Netflix stopped the whole paid sharing thing. So some firms are bullish and they thought those earnings were pretty good. Here's Zucks on what he thought about the whole Trump situation right here.
I've done some stuff personally in the past. I'm not planning on doing that this time. And that includes, not endorsing either of the candidates. Now, look, there's obviously a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. The historic events over the weekend. And on a personal note, it's, seeing Donald Trump get up after getting shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life. But look, it's, and I think, look, it's at some level as an American, it's like hard to not get kind of emotional about that spirit and that fight. And I think that's why a lot of people like the guy.
The PR pivot from 2018 to 2024. Even look at what Zucks is wearing, dude. He's not wearing a suit. He has does he have a perm? He has a perm. Guys, I'm thinking of getting a perm, by the way. I'm legitimately thinking of getting a perm. I think a perm would look really cool. He's wearing a gold chain, Adidas, t-shirt, jeans. Dude, the Zucks pivot from the most evil man in the world to this dude who's just cool running a $1 trillion company. The Zucks pivot is the Zucks pivot. So why did I share that clip? Number one, I think one thing, it just shows that he's really confident and calm and secure. I think going into Meta earnings, he feels that they, potentially did a good job and they're ready to continue showing their execution. Number two, election advertising is coming up. That's another reason I think Zucks did not want to endorse anyone because he wants Facebook to be the number one platform where people buy election ads. And as a result, him endorsing would be a bad thing. He has previously endorsed in the past. He's given money to Obama. I'm pretty sure he endorsed Clinton in 2016. So he has been politically active. But in this case, he's kind of laying back because I think he realizes that Facebook stock is already up a lot year to date. And they really need that election advertising to continue to show momentum going into the end of the year. And so I think he wants to have a neutral state, but he kind of did. He didn't endorse him, but he kind of, by saying it's the most badass thing, I was emotional when I saw the president getting shot and kind of waving his fist to everybody. That was him changing his tone on Trump than how he has talked about Trump in the past. So from that perspective, maybe, he is a fan of Trump, but the point is Facebook's advertising business hopefully continues to go higher as the election season gets into play. And same thing that's going to happen with Google. He gave millions to the DNC. Yes, that is correct. He did give millions to the DNC, and he's not this time. And that raises a question. It's like, maybe it's because he doesn't like Biden, right? Maybe he doesn't care if it's Biden or Harris. He just doesn't want to support the Democratic Party anymore, which if he said that would be major news if Zucks did a left to right pivot, because that, Zucks has been a Democrat his whole life. But we're seeing that a lot in tech and in the broader valley as well. Serve Robotics is up 190%. Why is that happening? So that's happening, if I'm not wrong, because NVIDIA took an equity stake in them. So Serve Robotics is up 190% on the day. This is a company that's a $280 million market cap. Kind of reminds me of SoundHound when NVIDIA took an equity stake in them. They were $1.78 on July 3rd. Today, they are $7.41. I would not chase this. This is always scary to chase after it does the pump. This is when people start really, really holding the bag. If you knew about it at $2 or $3, then God bless you. If you're finding out about $7.55, congratulations. So is everybody else. The volume was 254 million shares today. So a lot of people found out now. The question is there any more juice left in this? And I don't know anything about the company, but if it's only up because of an acquisition, nothing fundamental around the company, then I would say there's not a ton of juice left. And it really reminds me of SoundHound. So we'll see how that one plays out. So that's what we got on Serve Robotics. Okay, here's a video I want to show you guys of the plane outages after the Crowdstrike news hit in the United States. So take a look at this. Here were all the airplanes flying across the United States, and then they were all required to take, most of them were required to like find an emergency landing after the Crowdstrike Y2K situation broke out. And so this just goes to show you how serious, I still can't believe that it was this serious, dude. I guess my lack of understanding the cybersecurity sector is in full force today, because I didn't think cybersecurity was that big of a deal. But imagine being on an airplane going to work or, a family event or something, and you like have to have an emergency landing because there was a bug in the deployment of the code from this company called Crowdstrike. Like, I mean, it would just be absurd. You would just be like, what the heck is going on? But that's what's happening right now. And to me, it just stresses how important Crowdstrike is. Now, Chris says right here, think of the lost money. The lost money is gigantic. My question is Crowdstrike really going to be responsible for paying back all that money? Crowdstrike right here, 305 after the bell. And I don't know, dude. I mean, yes, they're going to get hit with a ton of lawsuits. Is there a way they can massage, the pain by saying, hey, United, pay us 20% less over the next 3 years, or like, we're going to do XYZ deal? I mean, their lawyers are going to have to get very creative. But I think this argument that I think the street would have realized that, oh, Crowdstrike's going to have to pay more than they're making in their annual recurring revenue in lawsuits. Therefore, we should price in, it's a 0% growth over the next year. If you think about the net income hit that's gonna happen. And the cash on their the cash on their balance sheet is also going to go down, which should theoretically decrease the tangible book value as well, because they're going to have to pay out all these settlements. I feel like the street would have tanked this thing like 30% today. So an 11% decline from a basically very overvalued company, if you just look at the basic premiums when it was at 380, even right now it's a 570 PE after the 11% decline. So like, I feel like this was an excuse to sell, and the street took the excuse, but I don't know if it's an excuse to take it back to the 200s. And if it happens, it happens. But I don't know if this will end up playing out. So we'll see. Does Crowdstrike get a bunch of marketing from this? Yeah, I would say so. I would say, this is not the best publicity, but at the end of the day, people do know what Crowdstrike is now, or at least more people have heard about it. And so definitely more investors. I mean, even me, I invested in the company today because I took it more seriously. So from that perspective, I do think more people will probably learn about Crowdstrike, even though it wasn't the best publicity. ChatGPT couldn't find the problem. No, ChatGPT could not find the problem. It was 275 at one point. Yeah, and that dude, that 275 in the pre-market was eaten so quickly. I mean, it just never got back to that level. The lowest it got back to was 298. So I don't know. It's very interesting. Also, Schwab. Yeah. So let's get into the Robinhood news. So Schwab had a very bad day, just not a good day. So here's a trader called Shardy B. I don't know if you guys know her on Twitter, but she's awesome. She trades a lot. I mean, she's had a lot of good wins this year, big on crypto. She says, to go on record, Charles Schwab, you are the worst. You have cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars today, and I still can't trade. I hope you go out of business. This is a big account. She has like 250,000 followers. I mean, that's just not good PR for Schwab. Now, it's not really Schwab's fault because it's CrowdStrike's fault, but still, like, they're going to get some of the blame. And so I quote tweet this, and I just put a picture of Vlad because I'm like, well, there's a platform that's working pretty nice today, and it's not that big of a concern to me. And he responds with a dead face emoji. So even Vlad is kind of just like, well, you could come to Robinhood. So Shardy probably wouldn't come to Robinhood because she's dealing with a lot of money. But I think more people, I got a lot of messages today of people saying they're done. They need Robinhood to bring back the 1% transfer because they're going to immediately get out of this because they can't, deal with Schwab anymore. And really, it's not just CrowdStrike. I got a message yesterday from a friend that was getting annoyed with Schwab because he was just like, dude, and this guy has a decent amount of money in Schwab. He's like, I can't log in. He's like, what's going on? It's like that CrowdStrike thing wasn't happening yesterday. It was just like Schwab being Schwab. So I got a lot of messages today saying this is not just a CrowdStrike thing, that like every single month they're having some issue with the brokerage. And if you look at Schwab stock, I mean, it's also not really performing the best over the past couple of days. Let's see if it was down today. Yeah, it was down another 0.31% today. Over the past month, it is down 15%. And maybe it's because, not only are they not growing, but the product itself is really not innovating. And that's also probably leading to lack of growth. And if the product was innovating a bit more people would be excited to stay. Now, granted, Schwab still 9.4 trillion in assets. It is just another behemoth when you think of the overall company. But the street is not happy with the fact that they're only beating their numbers because of cost controls, not because of organic growth. And that's kind of one of the broader issues that's happening with Schwab right now. Fidelity worked today. Fidelity, M1, Robinhood, all those were good. Schwab was like the only one that even Thinkorswim was doing okay. But Schwab was not doing the best. Anyone that thinks Crowd is better for allowing the world's largest internet outage are very odd to me. I don't think Crowd is better for allowing the world's largest internet outage. I think, and this is the contrarian play that my 5 shares are betting on, this unfortunate sequence of events happening just exposes how unbelievably vital this company is. It's not a good thing that it's happened, but it did happen. And so from an investment perspective, being unemotional, I'm like, okay, so people really care about Schwab, or not Schwab. I guess they care about Schwab too. They care about CrowdStrike at a level that is highly different than some of the other cybersecurity names. And as a result, I think maybe that means there is an investment opportunity there. But we will see if that plays out. I am with Schwab, so I use Thinkorswim, which they purchased with Ameritrade. No problem with Thinkorswim. Yeah, TOS was working today, but the actual Schwab platform was not the best, and it wasn't for everybody. But there was, when I put out the Twitter post, there was a decent amount of people just being like, "Yeah, this is ridiculous." So I guess we'll see what happens with that going out later into the day or into the next couple weeks. What else do we have? So we talked about Schwab. We talked about Netflix getting an upgrade today. Netflix basically ended flat for the day. Oh, here's some interesting news. Apple Vision Pro, as per Bloomberg, has yet to sell 100,000 units. So, I think we'll call Steve in a little bit. We'll give him that news as well because Steve loves the Vision Pro. But I still am. I will eat my words in a couple years if Apple ends up making the Vision Pro successful, even if it's the Gen 2, Gen 3, whatever generation it is. I don't think people are doing wearables, dude. I just don't. CrowdStrike here up a little bit after hours, but I think Apple's pivot to AI it'll save them and they'll be fine. Apple right here at 224, but Vision Pro not really doing the best. Mickey says, Amit, you hairy as fuck, bro. No homo. I'm gonna get a haircut this weekend. I know the hair is kind of getting out of control, dude. This is the thing about me. If I don't get a haircut like every 11 days, I end up looking like a Chewbacca or something, like from Star Wars. See, you guys are surprised I got that reference, right? You guys are surprised. I've never watched Star Wars, but I know about Chewbacca. So I'm a bit more. It was so embarrassing yesterday on Daily Palantir, dude. I named all these German cities. I'd be like Munich, Berlin, Stuttgart, and I was like, see, you guys know I know my German state geography. And then all the comments from the Germans are like, you fucking idiot. Those are not states. Those are cities. And I was like, damn it. damn it. I thought I was going to get some brownie points there. It's like, nope, that was not going to happen. All right, let's call Steve. Let's see if he picks up and let's get his take on everything going on the day. He had some issues with his job with cybersecurity because they use CrowdStrike. So let's see if he picks up and what he has to say. When you're 40, you'll be bald. Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm enjoying the hair for today. Hello, Steve. You're back on the market close.
Can you call me back in 5 minutes?
Yes, I can.
The garage and going up the elevator.
All right, I'll call you in 5.
All right, bye.
All right, so we'll call Steve in 5 minutes. Someone says, "Dude, ease up on him. Amid has the same problem as me, fast growing hair." Dude, I've had. You guys see my arm? You see this, bro? This was in 3rd grade. 3rd grade, bro. And then I asked my mom, I was like, "Mom, I think I need to shave my arm." And my mom was like, "No, you'll be a little bitch if you do that." I'm not lying, bro. She called me a little bitch in 3rd grade. She was like, "Men don't shave their arms. Like, you just have to embrace it." And from that moment on, I was like, all right, I'm a hairy motherfucker. It's like, it is what it is. Like, this is how my genes are. And it is what it is, dude. But I don't have the beard anymore. I had that. My mom wanted me to get rid of the beard for years because she thought I looked like a terrorist. And every time she said that, Bitcoin 67, I told her that's racist. And she was like, "I don't care. You look like you look like you're about to blow up like a building." And I was just like, "Mom, like, you can't say that." She was like, "No, I can. I'm your mother. Like, you look like a terrorist." And so I kept the beard for a long time. And then finally last year I capitulated. But yeah, she let me know every day. And she was really worried for me, dude, because she was like, people, like, they might try to do something if you have the beard. She was looking out for me more so from a concern perspective. But I love the beard, so I kept the beard for a long time. So dude, when I shaved it, that was one of the happiest days of her life. She was so happy. ISRG crushed their numbers. Yes. So yesterday they had a great earnings. ISRG. Also, American Express. Wow, they're up 9% today. American Express, they're down 2%. Their numbers, American Express, I think they missed on revenue. American Express, they missed on revenue by 1.55%. They beat on EPS by 7%. Highlights from their call: earnings grew 44% year over year. Revenue growth about 9 to 11% for the rest of the year. Raised full year EPS guidance, which is good. And then strong second quarter results with revenue reached an all-time high for their quarterly revenue. So it was a good quarter, but it felt like it went down because it was up 30% this year. American Express stock was up. Yeah, it's still up 30%. So yeah, I think a lot of these companies going into Q2, they're just up a lot. And if they don't have an Nvidia quarter, the market's, not just going to buy the stock to buy the stock, which is good. That's why I think S&P to 548 is actually very reasonable, dude. Does anyone in the chat really feel weird that the S&P is down 3 days in a row? Does it feel like a start of a catastrophic recession? I don't feel like that at all. I feel this is super reasonable. This is what should be happening. And this is like the little a breather that the market absolutely needs. So I think it makes sense. So I don't think it's an issue at all. Amid terrorizing derivatives. Stupid question, but can you explain why Bitcoin is so volatile? That's not a stupid question at all. I mean, I don't even know if I have the best answer for this. I would anyone in the chat can answer that as well. I would say Bitcoin is volatile because at the end of the day, a lot of people buy into it for the sheer idea that it's going to go up. And when it starts going down, people get so scared, especially if, they bought it for the hell of it. And so because there's no thesis, people easily sell. So I think the Bitcoin movement, Michael Saylor's movement over the past basically 5 years has been trying to get people to understand the long-term horizon on why you hold this asset through the volatility, just like you would hold Palantir through volatility. Although Bitcoin doesn't have cash flow and earnings and a leader like Alex Karp, it's a different abstraction. It's a different idea. So if more people believed in the idea, they would hold on to it longer, which would cause the price to go up. But a lot of people just don't. Like Germany doesn't give a shit about Bitcoin, and that's the problem. If they gave a shit about Bitcoin, maybe they wouldn't sell, and that would create more of a supply shock. So in general, I think it's volatile because people don't really believe in it. They care about making money from it. And as a result, it can go up and down very easily. It's filled with 18 to 24-year-olds. Yes, that's also true. It is highly speculative at the end of the day. That's true. But if you are looking at it from a macroeconomic perspective, all things are lining up for Bitcoin to have a really good year. And that's why I think end of the year, it still ends up doing really well. And one of the main components of that thesis is obviously rate cuts. Robinhood 2339, SoFi 748 after hours. HIMS. I'm trying to see. Okay, let me search up on HIMS if we have any explanation of the FTC suit, because that is so weird for Hims to be sued by the FTC. Hims announcing it is cooperating with an FTC inquiry, which is very different than an FTC investigation. An inquiry is just seeking more information. An investigation is when the FTC thinks there's wrongdoing and likely leads to a fine. I don't buy that. If the FTC comes knocking on the door, it's because something's going on. Now, maybe the investigation reveals nothing is happening, but like the FTC knocking on your door, they're curious about something. And I'm like, why are they curious? Yeah, no one has the answer. No one has the answer. Everyone is just showing the headline that they're cooperating with the FTC, but no one knows why they're even asking. It does feel like we've been dodging a ton of bullets, though, right? Trump almost got assassinated. Crowdstrike today, this Y2K. It just feels like the market's kind of on hinge that this one crazy event that could happen could really ruin the entire broader market. And it's been a interesting couple weeks in terms of how all this has been playing out. Meta in talks to acquire a 5% stake in EssilorLuxottica. Can you ask Steve about his thoughts on this? Yes, I will ask him that. We talked about it yesterday. Someone also said Meta bought, not Meta, the glasses company. I think they bought Supreme, if I'm not wrong. Like they bought the brand or something. It's a luxury company that has a lot of brands, especially in the context of glasses. So Meta taking a 5% stake in that would be very interesting. What it signals for Meta is that the Ray-Bans are taking off, or at least they're doing well. And so Meta at least believes in that product category, which is one of the reasons I think Meta might be getting momentum as well. I'm calling a bottom on Nike here. Most of the sellers are gone. Okay, let's look at Nike. So the reason I wasn't bottom feeding on Nike, but I wouldn't call it bottom feeding on CrowdStrike, but like tried to bottom feed on CrowdStrike, is because CrowdStrike seems important. Nike doesn't really seem important. Now, granted, Nike is a brand that will still sell $50 billion of inventory next year, but it's not as exciting as a CrowdStrike, even though it's probably much cheaper than a CrowdStrike. Nike right here is 72.7. It was up 0.44% today. It did hold that $70 range, which is good. We didn't go below 70, which is approaching March 2020 levels, but I don't know. We're going to have to really see if management can deal with their China exposure and actually reinvigorate the brand. All right, let's call Steve and let's get him on the phone now as well.
Hello.
All right, Steve, you're on the market close. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am doing good. So you came on the show a few weeks ago and you talked about the importance of cybersecurity. Fortinet was one of the picks you liked. Given what happened today, can you educate a little us in the crowd and the audience of just like why this sector is so valuable and why you're investing in at least one of the companies in the sector?
Well, I still need to do a lot of research on what happened today. Like I was in a 5-hour meeting about something completely different and was going back and forth via email and text message with our director of IT about what happens. And it doesn't seem like, at least to my understanding, and I could be 100% incorrect, that this was a cyber breach. It seems like this was a update from CrowdStrike. I'm sure you know more about it than me at this point.
Yeah.
But it seems like to me that this was an update that got pushed in the middle of the night, as updates normally do on the enterprise side. And there was a bad file, or they identified a good file as a bad file, and when it hit servers on endpoint protection hardware, it created the blue screen of death on a lot of servers, creating a lot of PCs and virtual PCs to get the blue screen of death. And that was my understanding of it. And it impacted a lot of cloud-based instances running on AWS and Azure, and maybe even other platforms, to not work for quite some time.
So do you think this just stresses how important cybersecurity is? I know this was not a breach, but
no, not at all.
So you think it was a freak bug accident, therefore...
This is something that could happen to any company, and this is more an investigation needs to occur. And look, I have no idea if this was sandbox. I mean, I have questions. You know, why are updates being pushed and being deployed on day 0? Why are they not being deployed on day 1, not day 0, and running in a sandbox on a secondary instance to make sure everything works correctly?
Yeah, that's the biggest question. I agree.
So that's my biggest question. I think that, you know, because it was CrowdStrike, it automatically gets lumped into cybersecurity, where this is more, yes, they're a cybersecurity company, and this could have been a cybersecurity update, but this wasn't a breach or a hack. This was an update to malicious software, and there was a bug in the software. So this is an engineering or a coding problem.
So here's my question then. If it was just a bug and it wasn't like really a cybersecurity issue, does that mean the dip is overblown at that point?
Oh, no. Oh, hell no.
Okay, why?
I mean, this could look, you're going to have everybody circling the moat. You're going to have everybody chopping at the heels. You're going to have Palo Alto coming after some of their customers. You're going to have some customers not care and say it's a freak incident. You're going to have other customers who don't trust them. I mean,
yeah, but if Steve, if that was the case, why did the market not really? I mean, 10% is bad, but it's not like 30%. You know what I mean? Like, why is the market not pricing that in right now?
But this is day 1. Nobody, I think people.
I mean, but Bank of America just put out a note saying we really don't think this is a big deal. $400, like we don't see it stopping growth. You know what I mean? Like even the banks are thinking like it's bad, but it's not. Sell the stock.
Nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows. They can put out any type of research they want. Nobody knows what directors of IT and chief technology officers are going to come up with in their assessments and what they're going to do. I mean, this could be nothing, and this could be overblown, or it could just be the beginning of it. You could have people say, you know what? Maybe I'm going to depend less on cloud and build and go back to a hybrid solution in my data center. And I'm going to take different precautions. We have no idea how this is going to play out.
Yeah, so I bought 5 shares today. I actually like the contrarian nature of this. I think this is overblown. I think this will definitely have some lawsuits and things of that nature. I don't think this stops the momentum on CrowdStrike. And I think getting in at these levels, it's tough, just given how much the market likes the stock. I mean, it got to 270 at one point today. You know, like I actually think this ends up playing out right for them. And so, what about Palo Alto and Fortinet? Do you think this helps them?
I don't know if it helps or hurts them. Oh no, it's too early for me to be able to form like a real solid opinion. I need to really look at things over the weekend and talk to a couple of people that are actually in the industry. Just because I oversee IT doesn't mean I'm in the industry. You know, the people who work for me are super smart and way smarter than me. So I need to talk to them and see where they're at. And, you know, this could be nothing, or it could be really big, and this could be the beginning. It's going to take some time before we really know. And look, you could be making the right move here, and CrowdStrike could continue to go down, but it may ultimately be up. You know, it may be a good place to start position. I mean, if it keeps going down, I'll probably start position, but I want some time to see what the trend's going to be and what more news comes out.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. So we didn't talk last week, so I got a lot of questions to ask you about today. I want to start off with Palantir, 29.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, guess who this is great for? Palantir.
Okay. Why? What's your thesis there?
I mean, this is great for Palantir because Palantir is on the forefront of a lot of things that protect a lot of things. So this is good for them.
Yeah, I think in particular the Apollo software, which does back-end simultaneous deployment of software and creates like the separate environments for people to.
On the government side, this is good for them because this is what they do.
Yeah, now I don't know if this creates a lot more demand for Apollo, but the point is, it is definitely an argument to look at Palantir more seriously as well. In terms of the run up, $29, what do you think? Is it too quick, too soon? Is it justified? How do you feel?
I mean, I'm loving it, but you may have been saying this all along. If it's run too much, I mean, only time can tell. I mean, I'm starting to get to the point where I got to seriously look at rolling my actions again.
Do you agree with Dan Ives' $50 price target?
I've said this before at least 5 times. It wouldn't surprise me if Palantir goes to 15. They wouldn't be surprised if it runs to 100 or 150. I think that this is one of those stocks that comes along once in a blue moon that is never going to truly correlate to what a realistic fair market valuation is. I think that this could be another Amazon or Tesla in the respect that it just doesn't trade off of what most people would consider a normalized valuation.
That's fair. I would agree.
I don't know how you value Palantir at this point. I just don't. People want it. And here's the big thing. There's so many shares outstanding that the share price is still under $30. Okay? There's a ton of demand for the stock. There's a ton of just press on it. A ton of people interested. And there's more people that want to buy it than sell the stock at this point. So kind of doesn't matter where the valuation is until that narrative changes.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, again, the price action is incredible. I do think that the institutional guys are what's keeping the price up. I don't think retail keeps it at these levels. Like Nvidia's down 6% the other day and Palantir's flat. I mean, that's pretty incredible, right? So I don't know. It just seems like momentum is there. Now, if Q2 they can really execute, we'll see more momentum, but I guess we'll see in Q2.
I mean, it's going to be interesting, right? It's going to be really interesting.
Tesla, 239 today. Concerned at all about Tesla?
No, I need it to keep going down.
Why?
Because my actions are already into the middle of 2025.
So
like I don't want to keep having a roll. I mean, that's not necessarily a good strategy.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, it ran up quickly. Let me ask you this, without obviously getting political. Trump and Elon are becoming buddies. Trump just said yesterday he'll get rid of the EV mandate. Why do you think Elon's endorsing him if the guy is so anti-EV?
I don't know Elon. I don't know Trump. I can't really say anything on that.
But do you think Elon has a separate plan here or something?
I don't know.
I mean, because my argument is he thinks selling cars in 5 years will be irrelevant. It's going to be about selling rides. So he doesn't really care if the EV subsidy goes away. That's kind of my thesis.
Forget robotaxi and selling rides. It's bad optics.
I forgot. You don't believe in robotaxi. I forgot.
Don't care about robotaxi.
You know, you have a lot of balls to buy Tesla just for Optimus when we have literally no progress on Optimus.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I respect it. I'm just saying. I respect it.
No, I mean, listen, I am looking 10 years down the line, and I am thinking that we're going to have a golden age of robotics, and there's going to be several companies that control the market, and Tesla is going to be one of them. It's not going to be a winner take all, but it's going to be several winners take most. It's going to be, mark my words, you can go back to this clip and play this in 5-10 years from now. It's going to be a similar scenario to cloud computing. The percentages may be different, but there's really only 3 players: AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. After that, it's a drop-off, and it's Salesforce, IBM, Alibaba, all in that 2 to 4% range. So it's going to be a several winner take most category, and I'm betting that Tesla's going to be one of those several take most.
Okay, I want to transition to macro. So the S&P had its worst week since April. The Dow is down 370 points. Looking like, based on what the Fed said this week and last week and the testimony with Jay Powell, they're definitely cutting in September. What is your current outlook over the next couple months? And do you think this breather the S&P took this week is needed?
That's fine. You know, I don't think people look too much into one down week, 2 down weeks. Who cares? Like, if you're a long-term investor, you're just buying more if you keep investing at different prices. That's why, continuously buying on a plan every 2 weeks into the S&P or a total market fund makes the most sense for a lot of people, because you get to buy the dips. You buy it when it's high, you buy it when it's low, and you average out.
But in general, do you think this was a needed S&P at 580 right now? I think all of us would be like, this is getting ridiculous, right? Sometimes you need to slow down.
or I'm not asking something. Let me just say this. I don't really care. I mean, I'm going to buy the S&P whether it's at 5,500, 5,100, 4,800, or 6,000. It doesn't matter. My time horizon's so far out, it doesn't matter. Do I like seeing my account higher? Sure, who doesn't? But looking at these short-term blips doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, unless you're a trader, and I'm not a trader. So, I mean, I think that people are holding off until they get an all clear sign from the Fed at this point.
Do you think the Fed cuts in September?
They don't have a choice.
I mean, everyone has a choice, Steve. I learned that this week the hard way.
They don't have a choice.
Why don't they have a choice?
Because half their mandate is maximum employment, and we're at 4.1% unemployment. It keeps going up. It's up more than 0.5% in the past year. The Fed is back against the wall. Inflation is now 3%. There's an argument that inflation is actually lower than what the reading on CPI is. And 2%, some person just came up with that number. It sounds good and it's stuck. And I really think that the Fed is in a position where they're going to have to cut. Otherwise, they're going to induce a recession, and all the progress that they made for a soft landing / no landing is going to be out the door, and we're going to get a hard landing because we're going to trigger a recession. So I think they have to cut. I think they should have already cut, and they're probably going to wait till at least September.
Okay. I think that's fair. And I think they do cut. I think it would be really tough for them to not cut.
Give me a scenario where why they wouldn't cut, considering that you have unemployment going up, and the only way to combat that is to make the lending market softer so companies are more incentivized to borrow to grow, to create more jobs and stimulate the economy.
Yeah, and the labor market data we got this week shows that it's inevitable. I mean, all of them are starting to whisper statements like we don't have to wait till 2% inflation. I think we're getting the cut. So here's a question. When we cut, you think the market likes it or doesn't like it? Because right now everyone thinks the market's going to like it.
It's going to rip.
Why?
Okay. It's going to rip for two reasons. The first reason is what people are not thinking. Everybody's thinking because big tech, big tech, big tech. That's part of it. It's not the main reason. You start cutting. That means that in the cycle, you're going to get to a point over the next year or so where the fear about real estate and other companies that have a lot of debt coming due, that it would be horrible if they were forced to refi at these rates, will now have rates where they can refi and still have it built into their profit model. And the likelihood of handing back the keys and the regional banks having to now be responsible for these assets that nobody wants and companies defaulting on their debt goes away. So now you take a potential regional banking crisis off the table. That's huge. Two, lower rates means companies are more likely to expand, as I just said. So what do companies do when they expand? They spend money, office space, computers, equipment, software. They need to hire people. So more people will have jobs, more money will be spent in the economy, more money will flow up to the biggest companies in the country, which is good for the S&P. It'll help earnings. Earnings will grow. So yeah, that's a all clear sign. And I think we go into a multi-year bull market, or we continue this bull market for a multi-year period.
Yeah, I agree. And from a small cap perspective, we all know like they're starting to ramp up. The rate cut is what creates the stimulus behind them. So transitioning to small caps, do you think they actually get momentum, or do you think money goes back to NVIDIA when we get a rate cut?
I think it's going to be a broader rally. I'm not a small cap person, so I mean, I don't really care about small caps that much in an investing standpoint. They could do well, but I like the safer play. And I think the safer play for me is what I understand, and I understand the bigger companies better. And that's why I spend the time researching, and it's worked out well for me. I think it's going to be a broad market rally, though.
Have you been buying NVIDIA at 117?
I am buying more next week. I haven't bought, and I think a week and a week and a half, maybe a week or so. But yeah, I'm planning on buying more next week.
Do you have
ramping up my position?
Do you have any concerns at all that you're wrong and Nvidia in the 120s is an issue?
If Nvidia goes to 70, do I care?
I mean, you'd be down $40 a share. I feel like that.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
The only reason I'd be upset is because it could potentially make the S&P crack a bit because of how big its weighting is in the S&P. Other than that, if Nvidia goes down, but my investment thesis is still intact, I'll just dollar cost average because I have time on my side. Like I don't go all in. You know, I leave myself out. And it was just like Alibaba. I started buying BABA at 225 or 230. And I'm still buying in. My average price, I don't even know. I'm going to make up a number, is probably like 105, 110. It's somewhere in that range. And I'm planning on buying more in a week or two.
But you got a juicy dividend this week, right? From BABA?
Whoopee. Down, I have buying my way out of the hole, and I'm still not out of the hole. But it just goes back to my thing. Like, I'm looking at this as my research that I've done tells me that this is a good investment for the future if you trust the numbers. And I have not been given a reason not to trust the numbers. And they're going to be the AI play and the cloud hosting play in China. Their financials are severely undervalued when you look at the rest of tech. And it's one of the craziest sets of financials. So if you believe the numbers, which I do, this is a home run. Now, it hasn't been a home run, so I keep buying it. It would be the same thing as NVIDIA. If my investment thesis doesn't change, I'll just keep buying it until I'm right. And I'll just write more covered calls until I'm right.
That's fair. I have a stat that I want to show you, Steve.
You're going to have to read it tonight.
Oh, yeah, I have to read it to you because you don't like showing your face because you're like James Bond.
No, I just got home. I'm making coffee. I'm fucking doing things. Like, I can't.
You're making coffee and you're fucking?
Making coffee and I'm doing things.
You said, yeah, I heard another word before doing things. Okay, here's the stat. Apple Vision Pro has yet to sell 100,000 units per IDC.
Okay.
So I'm just curious. What do you make of that stat?
I think that they need to make a new freaking version that is like a pair of goggles or some Ray-Bans. I mean, with Zuckerberg, did you hear that the Ray-Bans, the new Ray-Bans that Zuckerberg is making, they can't keep up with production with the freaking amount of demand there is for these?
Well, he's getting a 5% stake in some luxury glass company too.
Yeah.
So
I'm telling you, and Apple did not go about this the right way. You cannot, and I get that it was Gen 1. I've always said the only way that this works is if you have multiple generations that eventually gets it down to a comfortable pair of Ray-Bans or Oakleys. Probably Oakleys for what they're trying to do. But that idea, if you can't get there, this doesn't make sense. Nobody complains about wearing a pair of regular glasses on their face for 10 hours a day. And that's where it needs to get to. And that's why you're seeing the reports that we're seeing with Meta, because it's actually a real pair of Ray-Bans that are comfortable.
So this is the 5th time you've been on the show and we talked about this. You're not going to admit that Vision Pro is dead yet.
It's not dead yet. We can have that conversation in 4.5 years.
No, but Steve, as market analysts, we are judged on our ability to see beyond the horizon. That is the whole point of analyzing the markets and see things before they happen. So given we have to make a judgment before the Vision Pro ends up being a success or failure, are you willing to admit it is so far a failure?
At this point, it's a failure, but it is so far from being dead that it doesn't even matter. It's not even something worth fucking discussing at this point.
I think the pivot to AI is genius. I think they're going to drop the Vision Pro, and I think they're going to move on from this. And it is what it is.
Can I tell you I'm having some freshly cut kiwi right now?
You know, I never liked kiwi. I'm a peaches guy. I'm a peaches
Oh,
guy.
so good.
I like cherries
So-
and peaches.
Yeah, peaches are good too. I mean,
Okay, favorite fruit of all time. Don't think.
ooh,
Don't think. Just give it a raw answer.
No, I can't.
I
because
love a
you're
big, thick banana, bro.
All right, banana would not be my number one favorite fruit, but I am a pie person over cake because I love fruits. So
Okay, so
It's hard.
Steve, I didn't ask pie or cake. I asked fruit. What's your favorite fruit?
no, but I'm just saying, I don't know. Like peach is really good. Raspberry, strawberry. There's a lot that I
Steve,
like.
you know, you got to give an answer sometimes. I know this whole political stuff, but just give me an answer. What's your favorite fruit?
There's nothing political about fruit.
So then give me one answer. Don't give me a myriad of fruit.
I can. It's like freaking ice cream. There's certain flavors from certain companies.
I feel like you're indecisive. This is why now I know why you have 500 stocks in your portfolio. You're just like you're indecisive. This is how you act.
By the way, you see Altria Group?
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So this company
Everybody said I was crazy.
So this is a company that's killing everyone because they're selling cigarettes, but you're making a ton of money, so I love it. Why are they going up?
They're going up because once again, the market was giving them an 8 PE and a forward PE of like 9 on 26 earnings. And it was insanity for the amount of capital that they generate, amount of cash they produce, and their financials. And the fact that they're throwing off a yield at one point that was 9.8%. And they've grown the dividend for 54 years. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, the dividend's still 8%.
Wow. Exactly. It's gone up from 40, 50 to about 49. And the dividend's still over 8%. I think this runs to 55.
I like it, dude. You told me about this when it was like, when did you tell me? When it was over the past
around
year.
40.
Yeah, throughout 40. Yeah. Basically throughout the 40s. I like it. I don't have any, but I like it. They also sell weed for those that don't know. So it's not just cigarettes, but it's also weed. Okay, so why Amazon is you said a couple weeks ago you would hold Amazon until 2030. Prime Day just put up 14 billion, the largest they've ever done. Why do you think the market can't get this thing above 200?
I mean, it ran pretty hard this year. How much is it up this year? 80%?
No, Steve. It's up like 22%, 80%. What do you do? What? That's not
in the past year?
Oh, past year.
Not year to date, past year.
Over the past year, it's up 35%.
That's it?
Yeah, I'll show you.
I feel like this was at like 105 not too long ago.
No, it was last time it was at 135 in 2023. Last time it was at 80. The 80 dip was 2022. The 105 last time it was 105 was April 2023.
Yeah, so not that long ago, a year and a quarter.
Well, technically,
not that long ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. So, well, yes, it's run hard, but do you think Bezos selling is like a problem as well?
Who cares? The guy's freaking living his best life, buying up Miami. Who cares?
I mean, if I'm trying to get over 200,
he's not involved with the day-to-day operations anymore.
Yeah, it's not about him selling his bearish. It's just annoying because we're trying to get this sucker to the finish line.
The guy created one of the best companies in the world. The guy is selling shares because he is living his best life, and he has so much money that he doesn't know what to do with it. And I doubt he's selling because he's bearish. I think he's selling because he's just doing so many other things. And look, he's probably going to try to buy a sports team also. So
that is fair.
It doesn't matter. Him selling does not matter one bit.
Okay, let me ask you about a question. Let me ask you a company. Let me ask you a question about a company that I think you will have an interesting opinion on. June just asked, is weed a fruit? No, I don't think is weed a fruit, chat? Do you think weed's a fruit? I don't think so. If it was, that'd be interesting. Okay, Elliott investing in Starbucks. They're up 8% today. You think that's a good move?
I didn't even hear about this.
Okay, so I'm breaking it to you. Activist firm Elliott takes a position in Starbucks. I think it makes a lot of sense. Do you think that helps or no?
Sure. I mean,
you have Starbucks, right? You own it.
Yep.
Yeah, and you shop there. Like, I mean, you drink.
I mean, I drink enough coffee from there. I better be a shareholder.
So when people say Starbucks is expensive, are you just so rich it doesn't like hurt you, or what do you say to those people?
No, I think it's all relative. I mean, it's more What's the definition of expensive?
No, but forget your personal situation. Like as an investor, like how do you feel when people are saying?
As an investor, when I go to Starbucks, I see kids that are teenagers buying Starbucks.
Yeah, but are you in the rich neighborhood? Because that's their parents' money. That's not their money.
I'm just saying, like when I go into the city, I see a lot of younger people as well as older people buying Starbucks. People of all ages. I see a lot of kids going in with their parents. And my whole thesis about Starbucks is when you are ingrained to this brand, it's the same people in the 80s and 90s that went to McDonald's instead of Wendy's. They're going to keep going to McDonald's. I mean, I think Starbucks has a phenomenal product. I think that they sell a lot of coffee in the supermarkets as well as the stores. And it's a global brand that's continuing to grow. It's had a tough spot, but I mean, is spending $4 on a large coffee a good idea for most people? Probably not, but people are still doing it. Definitely cheaper to brew coffee at your own home, but people are still buying their coffee.
Do you have any thoughts on Dutch Bros at all?
Yeah, I should have bought it, but I just couldn't get around the valuation.
But you think it is like a growing...
I looked at it several times, and I could not get around the valuation. I was going to buy some at 26 just for the hell of it, and I decided not to. Ended up going up.
Okay. Steve, can I pitch you a stock?
Sure.
I was telling Chris about this. He's going to start his DD. I need you to do serious DD on this. All right.
All right. Is it a well-known stock?
No, it's not a well-known stock. To me, it's
okay,
it's a contrarian stock. I don't like the valuation at all. I think it needs a 30% haircut before I even think of buying it. But if it goes down 30%, I want to buy like 3,000 shares. Like I like and just leave it for the next 10 years.
What is it?
Okay, so this company is so popular that
just tell me what the company.
Well, hold on. Let me get
Steve. No, just tell me the company.
This is content. We need to build things up, okay?
Okay, but I may know the company. Just tell me the company.
Let me just say this. At the RNC, there was an outage because of how popular this app was. Okay. And we could see it in the data in the Milwaukee.
Tony, if you say the R word,
what's the R word?
We're going to have an issue.
What's the R word?
If you're going to say Rumble, you and I are going to have an issue.
No, dude. Rumble's stupid, dude. What do you think about Grindr? Gay dating app.
I mean, I happen to think that the whole online dating space is a genius thing. So, I mean, I could get behind something like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can get behind other people when they match on Grindr. But the point is,
Match.com could be. I mean, Match.com owns. What do they own?
They own Tinder and Hinge. Here's my thing.
Tinder and Hinge.
Here's my thing. So the thing about Grindr that I really like, I've listened to the CEO a couple times now. You know what he said yesterday that really got me? So someone asked him on an interview. She was like, why are you like, what is wrong with Tinder and Hinge? And maybe this is me mansplaining or something, but what he said was like, those companies treat men like shit. He was like, they treat men as like this like commodity because the girls don't really pay for the app, right? The guys are chasing, and they don't build features for the guys that are paying all the fucking money to meet these women. And so he said on Grindr, although it's not a straight dating app, we actually value all of our users and we build product experience for them. And that's an important thing. Number two, they're about to be profitable. They're like $20 million away from profitability. Number three, they're up 40% this year because they raised guidance and their investor day, and the investors really got excited for their growth. Number four, they have 13.7 million users. Only 7% of them pay. So there's a large penetration, literally a lot of penetration going on at Grindr. And then number five is they are a niche within a niche. So dating is a niche, but gay dating, they don't pay a lot for marketing because everyone who's gay just goes to Grindr.
And I guess they don't really have competition, so
there's really none, bro. I mean, like Tinder's competition, but I asked someone yesterday actually who was gay. I said, like, what do you think about Grindr? And he was like, dude, like Grindr is the only place I would go to like hook up with someone, not Tinder.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think Match.com has a great business, been around for a very long time, and I don't think that it's going away. I don't think that this is a genie that goes back in the bottle. I mean, I think people are more inclined to go on a online app to meet somebody than try to meet somebody at a bar. So, yeah, I mean, it's an industry that I think is going to be around and continue to grow as we have expansion in the population. So, yeah, I mean, if the valuation looks good, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
So I don't like the valuation because Match Group is 8 billion, Grindr's at 2 billion, and Match is way bigger than Grindr. But I think the market's giving it a premium because Match doesn't grow, but Grindr's at 35%, dude, year over year. Like they're fucking.
I'll look at the financials.
Okay, let me know. I think there's something here, and I like when people like when I say it, people are like, because that lets me know no one's thinking about it at all.
No, I mean, it's not something I would have thought of, but when you say what you're thinking, I think that it is something that definitely has a lot of potential. So I'm interested. I gotta look into it.
I think you'll enjoy their pitch deck. They have like rainbows and shit. It's like like I really think there's a thesis here, dude. And I haven't pulled the trigger yet because I don't like it at 1150. I hate that price. But if it gets to 950, I feel like it's exciting.
Yeah, listen, it could be interesting.
Particularly also the reason it's interesting is because, here's the other thing. I think you'll love this stat. Gay people are rich, bro. Gay men have on average, they have 45% of them have a JD, an MBA, a $200,000 income. They have no expenses because a lot of them don't have kids. So their disposable income can pay a $40 per month subscription. Like gay men are some of the most highly educated and economically well-off individuals in the States. And so the penetration from that perspective seems like it can also be monetized.
I don't think a $40 price point is crazy for a dating app that is a quality dating app.
Yes, but still, like even when I go on.
So but think about it like this: you're going to spend $40 a month. You go on one date with somebody, and if you pay, you're spending more than $40. So you're getting access to a whole sea of people for $40 a month and can interact with them.
Yeah,
I think that's a really good price point.
Yeah, I agree, and that's the majority of the revenue, and they're experimenting with ads. That's like 15% of the revenue, but like
So is there a way for them to, in addition to ads, is there other features that they can upcharge their members for, such as,
well, that's what the CEO said he's building out. They're building out. They're really product focused over the next 6 months, so I think they will. But I don't see a world in the next like in 2030. Do we not think there's going to be no gay people? No, there's going to be a ton of gay people. Number two, where are they going to like find each other? It's not going to be on like Tinder. Oh, this is what the CEO said. Grindr is more of a social network. That's also something I liked versus just a hookup app.
I cannot tell you how common it is for two people to meet on a dating app versus 20 years ago.
Yeah.
The world has completely changed. So this is a space that is super interesting.
And it's like the other thing when he said we don't spend anything on marketing, I was like, oh my, like from a product first perspective, it's really good margins because if you don't have to spend to acquire users because they just know Grindr is the place to go. That's
usually one of the biggest expenses for close to revenue.
Yeah, it's just like boom, there you go. I think there's a thesis here, and I
think you got something there. I gotta look at the financials and the forward projections. I need to read through at least the 10Q, maybe the 10K, and I need to look at some trends. But yeah, it's interesting.
I think it is interesting, at least.
You never know. Maybe they get acquired by somebody too.
Yeah, it's only $2 billion, dude. I mean, it's a little pricey. They're going to do about $300 million in revenue, but $2 billion is not insane to me to get behind. I just like it at 1.5.
So back to the CrowdStrike thing real quick. What I do think this is going to trigger is I think that Microsoft is going to start asking themselves, why do we not have a piece of cybersecurity? And why are we outsourcing this? And why don't we just acquire a company and embed it and do everything in-house? I think you're going to see a big push to have everything. Look, Apple's not affected because Apple doesn't really deal with enterprise.
Yeah.
And everything is within Apple's ecosystem because they control everything. There's less and less third-party things for them. Whereas on Windows operating, it's all third-party and all secondary companies. And I think you're going to see the potential for a Alphabet or a Microsoft to really get into the cyber space and do everything internally and just acquire a big company and rebrand it and maybe not even care about selling direct to consumer and just have it be part of the package with their cloud and operating system. I think that's a real possibility throughout this whole thing.
Yeah, and Mike Satya put out a statement today about it. Yeah, I think that's possible, but I don't think that stops people needing something like CrowdStrike. Even if
I'm not saying it's going to stop. What I'm saying is that you may get it through a package in the future. This could change the entire landscape, and we're not going to know for 6 to 12 months how deeply this ripple effect becomes. It could be nothing, or it could be huge.
Dude,
so it's something you got to pay attention to.
No, I agree, and I don't know. My gut feeling is that this is overblown dramatically. But if the lawsuits pile up, then that's the issue.
Look, it could be. But once again, you don't know how people in the technology industry are going to react. I mean, you're going to have a lot of people having a lot of conversations over the weekend and over the next couple of weeks, and there's a possibility nothing changes. There's also a possibility that a lot changes. Like this, it's too soon. You're rolling the dice right now because it is too soon to accurately have an idea of which way the wind's going to blow at this point.
Yeah, but that's also what you got to do sometimes, right? Like that's.
I'm not saying you don't.
Yeah.
This could be a great move. For me, I need more information.
Okay, talk to me about Meta. It fell from 530 to 460, now at 480. Couple firms say 630 by the end of the year. Where do you see Meta in December? Thank you for the analysis, Steve.
I mean, I've given you the analysis on Meta since 94.
Okay, well, give it to me again at 477. Like, do you think this dip is warranted in the past?
It's going higher. Short-term fluctuations don't matter unless you're a trader. Meta's going higher. They don't really have competition. Them and Alphabet are a duopoly. Amazon's starting to come to the party and take away some market share. But the pie is growing as Amazon is entering. Meta continues to blow it out of the water with their financials. And they have more than a third of the global population using its products on a daily basis. You can't find another company that can say that.
Do you like it? Do you like it at this level or no?
I better like it at this level. I've owned it for over a decade.
Yeah, I think the election advertising, and so Zuck said he's not endorsing Trump, but he did say him getting shot was one of the most baddest things ever when he got up and waved to the crowd. And I think, and he's given a lot of money to the Democrats in the past. So the fact that he's staying neutral, maybe he thinks he wants advertising dollars to come to Facebook and Facebook only. And so he kind of wants to just stay out of an endorsement. You know?
Listen, there's going to be a lot of money spent from both parties on advertising. This could actually help linear small market plays a lot for the next 2 quarters. And if you want something that could be an interesting short-term trade, you could see some of these smaller companies really do well. They have local radio and local TV stations because they're going to get a bump to reach rural areas. But when you're talking about an election cycle as big as this, you're going to want to advertise where the most eyeballs are. And I think Meta and Alpha are going to do well from both parties in advertising dollars.
Do we both agree the metaverse was stupid and it's done?
I think the metaverse is not going to be what Zuck wanted it to be. And I think he spent a lot of money on a vision that didn't work. But as a shareholder, I have no issue with him doing that because he earned the right to do it and try it.
I agree. I have no problem with
$10 billion, $15 billion. So what?
Okay, first of all, it was $70 billion, but I agree he deserves.
No, but hold on. No.
It was $70 billion, Steve. It was $70 billion.
No. It wasn't $70 billion
You're
because
wrong.
he still owns a lot of those GPUs that he's transitioning to AI. So no, it wasn't $70 billion. I said burned, not spent.
No, I think he legit burned. I don't think it was GPUs that caused the $70 billion collapse. It was everything else. Regardless
of what the number is,
we both agree he deserved to try it, but it's probably
he has earned the right to take a shot.
Yeah,
because he didn't tap the debt markets to do it.
Yes.
He utilized free cash flow to do it. He built an amazing business, and he tried advancing it. And as a shareholder, I'm good with that.
And the stock is up 5x.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was crazy low where it sold off to, and people overreacted. And I think it goes higher. I think it goes higher. Probably go up, down, but I think the trend is higher over the next 5 years. It could go lower.
Do you have any thoughts on Netflix that reported yesterday?
I didn't read the report yet. I'm going to read it over the weekend. I don't know. I've been wrong on Netflix. I think it's overvalued, and I don't necessarily think there's anything on it to watch. So I don't know. I have Netflix. I mean, I say that and I'm a subscriber, but every time I go to watch something on it, I end up either going to HBO Max, YouTube, or freaking Amazon Prime because I can never find anything I want to watch on Netflix. And the only reason I really have it is because I have no idea when the next season of The Recruit or Night Agent comes out, and that's pretty much the only reason why I have it, because I'm just waiting for the next seasons to come out.
Real quick, Steve, shout out to Mr. Derek Wall. Derek, you did not need to do this, but thank you to Derek. He just gifted 50 memberships. So if you're in the chat right now, if you're not a member, you can click on this thing and it'll give you a free $5 a month membership to the channel. Derek is working on something really cool, guys. He's building a company again. He's already exited 6 companies for, the past 40 years. Now he's building a new one, and this one is probably going to be one of his best companies and likely biggest companies ever. So really, really exciting stuff. Happy for him. He just got it. He made a major deal last night to advance the trajectory of the company. So shout out to Derek, and thanks for the memberships, Mr. Wall. Oh, Steve.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, dude, he's about to take over the world, and it's just so exciting because I get to be front row and kind of see it happen. So let me ask you something. So Derek actually invited me to go on a private jet with him in October, but I'm going to India, so I rejected him. Do you think that was the right move or the wrong move?
I mean, I'm going to need more context, and we can talk offline about that.
They were going to they're flying to some startup to go like view some stuff, and they were just like, hey, come through, like we'll make a weekend out of it, it'll be fun. But I'm going to India. So when I put this on Twitter,
so you're going to India to see family?
I'm going to India to see family, and it conflicts with the date, unfortunately.
Okay, and you could probably go to that startup in like a couple of months from now with Derek?
Probably not. No, I'm not going to get this exact opportunity again. No, it's not going to happen.
No, but a similar opportunity in the future?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I would go see family.
Yeah, that's what I ended up doing. Yeah.
I mean, look, I don't know. I'm one of those people where if you're tight with your family and...
But Steve, it's a private jet.
So what? Who cares?
I feel you, but I've never been on a private jet,
So what? Who cares?
You know what I said on the channel a year ago? I don't know if you remember this. I told the channel I'm never going to fly private or first class. And the idea was I want to like keep my my innocence. Like I don't want to act like I'm too much bigger than myself. But once I got the opportunity, I was like, sign me up, bro. I was ready. So I feel like as I'm growing older, I'm realizing all that like virtue signaling shit is like nonsense, because once you get the opportunity, you take it.
Okay.
And I guess that's how my life is evolving now, All right. So last question for you, Steve. Another stock that you've been holding on to for a long time. PayPal. What do you think's going on with this one?
Oh, it's D-Day right now.
Have you sold yet? Are you out or no?
No, I have options into August 12th, I think, or something like that. I sold another set. I want to see the quarterly report.
Me too.
I'm a sucker.
Me too.
I'm a sucker.
I want to sell it, but I want to see the quarter. I agree.
At this point, I'm more in the camp of selling, even though I think it's a broken stock, not a broken company, because I think it's so much of a broken stock that there may be nothing that they can do to get the market to reverse the sentiment. This could be IBM, and I don't want to be waiting 5-10 years.
I agree. And I think after this quarter, if it jumps to like 70, I'm already down 50% of the option, 70%. I'll just take a 30% loss if I can, recover 20%. And
I stand by what I said. The only thing that Alex Chris can do to get the market excited is to go balls to the wall and come out on the conference call and say, not only had we spent X amount of our $5 billion authorization on buybacks, but we are authorizing an additional $5 billion that will be spent over the next month, not year, but month, off our balance sheet, because our balance sheet is so clean. And if we feel that the market is not respecting the stock, we are going private. And this is not a threat like Elon did it for 20.
Wait, hold on. No, that's absolutely a threat if he comes out and he says,
It's not a threat.
if he tells shareholders,
It's not a threat
we are
because
going
they're
private if you don't buy the stock, that is absolutely a threat.
It's not a threat because they're actually going to do it, is what I'm saying. Look, right now they can buy the company back in about 11 or 12 years from their free cash flow forward being generated. That's how low the company is valued. You have more cash on the balance sheet than total debt. You have about $5 billion free cash flow being generated.
No, but Steve, if Alex Chris tweets going private at $42, that's a threat.
No, but that's not what I said. Not at $42. What I said is he comes out and says we're taking $5 billion off the balance sheet and we're buying back more stock over the next month. And if the market doesn't get excited or we don't get the valuation that we feel good about, we're just going to take the company private. And
but I'm so curious. How does a public CEO word the way you just worded that
very
without
easily,
it?
The way I just said it.
Okay, say it again, and I'm going to address as a third party if that's a threat or not. Go ahead.
We feel the company is extremely undervalued. We have made progress. We continue to grow our revenue. We are generating roughly $5 billion of a year annually in free cash flow. We have repurchased, $16 billion of shares, whatever it is. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head since 2017. And we've bought back more than a third of the company over the past decade. We're going to authorize an additional $5 billion because we feel we're so undervalued. And if we still feel it's undervalued, we're just going to take the company private because we are not going to do it in the public markets anymore. That's not
that is a threat. Dude. I feel like the SEC would be up his ass if he says that, dude.
The SEC can't do anything if they buy back every share on the open market. They can't do anything. There's nothing illegal about that.
No, but the problem here is before they do all those buybacks, he's not insinuating. He's publicly telling the market, just like Elon tweeted, we're ready to take it private.
Well,
which is
the difference is PayPal is like a $60 billion market cap. They really actually are ready to take the company private if they want to.
Well, so was Elon. Elon was ready to do it at the time. He had the Saudis backing him. Elon had the Saudis.
Did he?
He said he had the Saudis with like.
Did he?
I'm not. Elon doesn't lie about a lot of stuff. So
did he? I don't know. We can't prove it. I don't know. That's why I'm saying did he? I don't know. All I know is that PayPal can raise $60 billion to go private.
So I agree with you.
Not that hard.
I'm being facetious here with the whole threat stuff, but I agree with you.
It's not a threat. It's not a threat.
It is a threat.
It's a reality. It's not a threat. It's a reality that the public markets aren't valuing the company the way that it should be valued. They continue buying back stock because they feel it's undervalued. And if they keep having themselves in this position, why not just go private and cut the profits up amongst all the private shareholders?
I agree 1,000%. The logic of going private makes sense. I just think if he says that, that's a threat.
If he says that, the stock's going to 100 in like a week.
Yeah, and he's getting an investigation in 2 weeks.
No, he's not.
I don't think a CEO is allowed to say.
The difference between Tesla and PayPal is Tesla was diluting shareholders on the way up, and PayPal's already bought back a third of their company. That's the difference. Not like PayPal has been diluting shareholders and issuing more shares. And then they come out and say something like this. Like they've actually
Okay, hold on. Derek makes a good point in the chat. He says it could be a threat because it will drive the price up when he makes the threat, and then they don't have the cash to buy it back if the stock's more expensive after the run-up.
Hence the whole point. If they don't feel that they're getting a good valuation in the public market, they're just going to go private. But
that's a threat.
It's not a threat.
The stock only goes up, and they don't have to do the buybacks at like $100, which is obviously.
The stock may not go up. The market may not care.
Okay, but no, this is a scenario, right? Alex Chris gets on Q2 at the end of the call. He says, "By the way, we're going to blah blah blah. Everything you said. Well, we might take it private." Then stock goes up 40%. Let's just crazy numbers. Then they stop doing the buybacks, because why would they buy back the stock at 90 when they could have done it at 50?
No, but that's the thing. They can't not do the buybacks.
But they don't have the cash to do the buybacks, Steve. If it goes up,
They have the cash. They have over $9 billion in cash on the balance sheet.
but if it goes
They
to
have
100,
additional-
if it goes to 100, you want them to buy back with all the 9 billion again?
No. Take another $5 billion off the balance sheet. Yes, I want, regardless if it's at 60, 80, 90, they're not just going to buy at 100. They're going to buy in increments on the way up. Who cares? They're still buying back more shares, still decreasing the float. And I honestly think PayPal's fair value is over 100.
So you're saying once they issue the, I call it threat, you call it warning, they have to buy back no matter what, or else that would be illegal.
You have to allocate the $5 billion to buybacks and do it.
Even if the stock, even if the stock runs up 100%, they have to do the buyback.
It's not going to run up 100% overnight, and yes, they have to do it.
Interesting. If Alex Chris says that, dude, that's the most gangster shit ever. I'll buy more PayPal if he gives a threat to the market. I'll love that shit. That'd be awesome.
It's not a threat.
It is absolutely a threat. You can call it whatever you. I know you're in the Italian mob boss, and maybe threats are different to you, but
it's not a threat.
See, because you're an Italian mob boss, you just cut people's heads off. That's a threat to you, and so I know it's different.
It's not a threat. It is saying that we feel the company is undervalued, and if it continues to trade at these valuations, we'll seriously consider taking it private because we think we can do better private. Nothing wrong with that.
Okay, what does the chat say? Put a 1 in the chat if you think it's a threat, a 2 if it's not. 1 if it's a threat, 2 if it's not. Steve, I'll do a poll as well. I'll do a poll.
It's not a threat.
There's 500 people here. We're gonna get some crowdsourced info. I just want to see what people think, because this is pretty funny. I like that it's a threat, though. I like it's a threat.
It's not a threat. All you're saying is you think that you can provide more value to your investors in a private market than a public market.
Yeah, but the way you're saying, I don't think Zucks could be like, by the way, guys, when we were at 90, if you don't buy the stock.
Yeah, because Zuck isn't the CEO of PayPal.
No, but when Meta was at 90, I don't think Zucks could have been like, if you don't buy our stock, we're just gonna like go private. Like, there's no way he gets away with saying that, dude. Like, I've never heard a CEO even utter something like that besides Elon, and he got sued for like $20 million or whatever by the SEC. It's okay to be wrong, Steve. It's okay to be wrong.
The difference between PayPal and Tesla is diluting the hell out of shareholders, while PayPal has repurchased a third of the company.
I feel like that doesn't matter. I feel like the SEC is going to be like, I feel like you could also say PayPal's, a dinosaur company and Tesla's innovative. But the point is the subjective differences of the company and the dilution.
Dinosaur companies are companies that are dead money, don't necessarily grow revenue. PayPal continues to grow.
Yeah, but that's subjective. I can say they're 8% growth compared to.
It's not subjective. It's a fact. If you grow revenue.
Yeah, but PayPal's 8% growth over Tesla's 30% to me makes it feel dead. Right now, what are you going to say?
Okay, it may make it feel dead to you, but they're still growing, so they're definitely not a dead company.
But that's my point. If that's subjective, then the SEC is going to say
a number is a number. The trend is up and to the right, not down and to the right.
Well, the stock's down and to the right, and he's saying that threat to get it to go up and to the right. So
the stock is certainly down and to the right. There's no question about that.
Okay, it's 60-40 on you got 40% of people that agree with you that it's not a threat. So. All right, this was exciting. This was a fun little.
But PayPal may be the one I'm most interested in Q2, because if I don't like what they say, and I mean if I don't think that there is a real chance that the market can get excited about this, I may just get out of it and just put that money in Amazon or something.
Oh, I have to ask you, SoFi up 20% from the lows. What do you think about that?
Okay. Great.
What do you think about Noto saying Trump 2024?
I wish he took the Michael Jordan approach.
Really? You don't like that he went kind of more aggressive on that question?
No, I don't like bringing politics into anything, especially when you're running a company, because you alienate people, and that's not what I like to say.
I like that he didn't give a fuck and he just said it, bro. It showed me he had some balls, bro. Like we haven't seen Noto's balls in a while in terms of just pounding the table. I liked it.
Discuss why you have a better product than everybody else. Discuss how you bring value to your customers. Don't alienate people. And I'm a Noto fan.
I agree. The thing is, I don't think Noto has a better product than everybody else right now, so he can't really talk about that. But he can talk about rate cuts, and that's what he talked about.
But saying that a rate cut environment would be beneficial to the stock is fine. Nothing wrong with saying that. I just don't think that when you have a product that is customer focused, I don't think it is a wise move to, especially in this type of political environment, to offer that type of statement one way or another, because you're going to get people to say, I'll use something else. Why do it?
Yeah, no, we got some people that agree with you. They agree the politics is not the best way.
It's not the forum for it.
All right, Steve, you've been on for an hour. Thank you so much. Any other like stocks or things on your radar at all that you want people to pay attention to?
No, not really.
Okay, cool. There we go. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. I'm putting Steve's Twitter in the chat. If you have not talked to him or not followed him, please do. Steve, you texted me last week. You were sad you couldn't make the show because we didn't get to do our Friday show. So
I know. I'm so used to coming on Fridays.
I know, and you have these wild takes like that PayPal should threaten the shareholder base.
It's not a threat. I think that I actually do believe they should go private at this point.
I know you believe that, which is why you're great for TV, because you believe in this shit, which is great. I love it. It's awesome.
No, when you start a major news network, you call me.
Oh, you're going to be the first contributor. You're going to be paid millions of dollars a year to just chime in with your threat ideas. It's going to be great.
It's not a threat.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good night.
Talk later.
Later.
All right, folks. So what do you guys think about my Grindr thesis? I'm actually really interested in what people have to say. Most of you that were here probably heard it. I'm not going to go through the whole thing again, but for those that heard it, what do you think? Do you think there's anything there? Do you think there's anything what's the saying? Barking up a tree? What is that saying? And you're like, you guys know the saying I'm talking about, and you're like, you're knocking on the door or something, like whatever the saying is, you guys know what I'm trying to say. Is there any argument for where Grindr looks attractive? Vitaly said you came out. Yes, exactly. That's what. No, Vitaly, look at Grindr, bro. I think there's a thesis there. I think there's a real thesis. I want to make a Twitter post kind of outlining the entire thesis. I just haven't had a chance yet. I think there is a thesis on Grindr. Amit is a tranny. Oh my God, dude. I really do, bro. I hate the valuation, but I just think gay people are not going away. They're going to need applications to meet each other. Straight people have 1 trillion apps. Gay people have basically one app, and the revenue is growing 35%, and they're profitable next quarter or 2 quarters from now. I think there's a thesis. Derek says no. Please don't make that Twitter post. Oh my God, dude. Is there who agrees with it though? Like who actually forget the jokes. Does anyone actually think there's an argument here? Because if everyone doesn't, that actually makes me more bullish. That makes me feel there's one of those moments where you get so contrarian, you fucking Grindr is a gay dating app. I just can't buy it at $11.50. I'm not doing $11.50 is ridiculous, dude. $9.50, I at least get interested. $11.50 is just too much, dude. I think the multiple on that is a little too much. No, it's a sex site, not a dating site. Well, actually, that's the thing. That's why the CEO said this yesterday. That's why people keep paying the subscription. They pay $40 a month because, like on Hinge, if you find your girlfriend, you're done. You're not paying. So it's like a one-time fee. Grindr, people keep hooking up, so they keep paying because they get benefits to keep. And I think the other thing he's saying, a lot of gay people are in polyamorous relationships. So there's a lot of, it's not the same as the straight dating app business models, even though it is, but it's not, given the nuance of how gay relationships are. So I don't know, dude. I think there's something. There's at least something there. I'm just not buying it. $11.50. I just can't get behind that valuation. But if it gets to $9, dude, it's something to think about. What is the Grindr moat that someone else might back up on? Okay, so I see what you did there, June. But this is the same thing about Robinhood, right? Like, what is Robinhood's moat? Like Schwab, Fidelity. In my conversations with people that use the app, they are like, dude, Tinder is like not even you have to build an app for a certain type of user. I looked at Schwab the other day and I almost wanted to vomit. I was like, I don't even know how to search for something. I can't use this. So Robinhood was built for me. Grindr is built for that population. And the CEO and the team and the product manager, they really focus on that population. So I think the user experience is a moat, maybe, for Grindr. Same thing with Spotify. Like some people just can't use Apple Music or YouTube Music, even though it's like the same as Spotify. But they're like, no, Spotify is how I consume music. So I would say the moat in Spotify, it's done 4x in the past year, is the idea that there's a user experience for a certain demographic of people that listen to music via Spotify. Derek says it's dirty money, same as OnlyFans. Well, if OnlyFans was public, I mean, I think a lot of people would be interested in that stock. But like the point, I just think there's a broader, I'm trying to think 2035, what is the future of, as Grindr calls it, the gayborhood? You got to go through the pitch deck, dude. It's hilarious. But if that future is bigger than a $2 billion market cap, like if it's just about making money, is Grindr a $10 billion company doing $2 billion in revenue? Right now it's doing $300 million in revenue. So in 5 years, that would be what? A 7x of revenue. It's lofty ambitions, but I don't know. I think that market could be growing. The only problem though is that like how many people are really going to pay, right? They have 7% penetration out of 14 million people. Like to get that to even 15% it's going to cost them. Like that's the other concern about like how do they actually get people to pay for the service at the end of the day? Change the subject. Oh my God. Yo, we should talk about you, Derek. We should talk about you. Let's see. Is Derek gonna pick up the phone? Let's see. Let's call Derek right now. Let's see if he picks up the phone. Let's see if he talks to the chat and he says hi. Let's see.
What?
Let's see if he talks to the chat.
Yeah, what?
Hello.
What's up?
So you are
Hello.
You got to mute the YouTube thing. I'm in the background there.
So hold on. You are dude, this is okay.
Okay, there you go. So you are starting a new company. What are you going through starting a company?
It's a Grindr competitor.
It's a Grindr competitor. Okay, cool. I think you would succeed at doing something like that. But no, in general, Derek, you're 54. You've been very successful your whole life. The chat loves you. They, the 50 subscriptions, they just love you as part of this community. What the hell are you doing starting a new company at this point in your life?
I'm a founder. I'm a serial founder, and you can't take that out of someone that's a real, true serial founder. And so I'm out of time in my life now. My kids are in college. I have nothing holding me to anything. No, I'm not dating. I'm not married. And as a founder that innovates, when something comes up, you drop everything and focus on that to do it. I'm literally thinking about moving. I live on the ocean and moving to Palo Alto. And I talked to a couple kids today and that are in college and out of college in Palo Alto and renting a house in Palo Alto and just launch the company out of there, and everyone's going to live there and just like, I don't know. I feel like I was meant to build stuff.
So I want to talk about that. I've seen the view from your apartment. It is like drop dead gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. Do you think you've gotten to a point in your life where you've been so used to that view that you need a new challenge, and that's why you're embracing the shoebox?
I think that when you become 54 and you've had a few successes and a bunch of failures, et cetera, you realize that, life is short. You have to have some passion for something and to live for. And I just feel that, my talent on this earth is to build stuff, crazy shit that impacts millions of people. And so I decided, a few months ago, that I have 10 years left of me to grind it out, 18 hours a day, to launch something that's going to be completely innovative.
Okay, so we're not going to get into all the details of what you're building, but
yeah,
I'll let you take the question from here. Why are you so excited to build what you're building at a high level overview? Like, what is getting you up in the morning to grind 18 hours a day?
So for me, I think it's a setup between when I was a teenager, I launched my first company, and to today at HubX, and HubX was written on a business paper thesis that I wrote at school, and I feel, and it grew fast. So we did 200 million our first year and 400 million the next year, and I.
Well, hold on. Before just 200 million in 1 year in revenue. That's a big fucking deal. Like that's not something you just skip past, right?
Yeah, but the funny, yes, but I mean, I've been involved in a lot of things, but
for me, it was like, if I go back to that paper, and I got to find that paper and I'll send it to you. And one of the paragraphs in that is that I missed the whole fucking point, like in my business plan. And on the company that I launched, HubX, I missed the whole point. I made it contingent upon marketplace, which I built. I turned buy.com into a marketplace platform and got it sold to Rakuten. But my commerce brain was around marketplace and this nascent like e-commerce platform, et cetera, et cetera. So the moral story is that immediately when we launched, sure, we exploded, but everyone was asking me for something different. It was crazy. And so I still feel like what I started isn't finished. So this new company is basically the last 35 years of my life in business. I had 2 startups before the internet. And then, since 1995, 96, I've been in e-commerce and internet and technology. So I feel everything that I've done in life is rolled up into this one new company, which is phenomenal. And as an entrepreneur, when you pull the trigger at my age, and I, we invest in companies together, and I look at deals, and I'm a big, advocate of mentoring founders, and so this new idea has the 4 elements of a successful company. 1, it's SaaS. 2, it's viral. 3 is it has its own moat. 4, it's innovative beyond, and the viral loop aspect of it is more powerful than Dropbox, Slack. It's massive. And so when you start making the phone calls to friends and VCs about this idea and concept, and everyone says, "Oh my God, this is huge," and then you start I spent a month, and I spoke from farmers to fashion and the biggest companies in the world, and it's a needed thing. So
let me ask you this question, because people in the chat are getting a little bit of an insight into like the questions I ask you, because I just want to absorb so much information. You have an idea. You've worked 40 years to get to this point around this idea, but then, although you think you're a good founder, you have a good idea, you need some type of validation. Over the past,
yeah, you tell everyone about last night. It's a big feather in my hat. One everyone, I came up with this idea, and we already got oversubscribed. So I want to say one thing. So for the last 5 companies I've done, 6 companies, has been bootstrapped. Never raised a penny. I was taught not to do that. I grew up in Silicon Valley, and my dad's a pioneer in Silicon Valley, and since 68. And so he always taught me to bootstrap companies. So this idea is so big that I needed to raise money. But more importantly, on HubX, we had 23 offers from private equity firms. We're in LOI, and I walked away from 600 million cash. And
which takes some balls to do that. It takes some balls to do that.
Well, but I didn't have I kind of regret it, because I didn't have a board of directors. I didn't have any investors. It was just my partner and I. And so I had no accountability. So this time around, this idea is so big that I'm going to, from day one, take money and create a board. And you can tell everyone, last night was a huge win for me as an entrepreneur.
Okay, so here's the question, then I'll let you tell the story. But the point is, you needed validation over the past couple months. You've been getting a lot of validation from some of the most exciting, interesting.
Not one no.
Yeah, you haven't gotten a single rejection. Every venture capitalist is begging you to take their money. And then last night, you got one of the most successful law firms in Silicon Valley to say they want to represent you. So my question here is, A, what has the process been like over the past couple months? And B, if there's founders in the chat, how do they go across validating their ideas?
I think in life, the biggest thing I can ever preach to anyone is this: surround yourself with smarter people than you and seek their advice. That will lead you. So if you're a pothead in high school and you don't go to college and you continue to hang out, you're just going to be a deadbeat all the time. If you study and you surround yourself with smart, educated people, you go in a different path in life in general. No matter what it is in business, you have to seek. Like if someone comes to me and says, "I want to manage your money," my first question is, "Do you have more than me?" If a company comes to me as CEO, he says, "You're doing it wrong," and I look at, "Are you better than me?" It's like I think in life, there's two things. One is it's not what you know, it's who you know, and then two is you surround yourself with other smarter people, and you have to be humble to take their advice. That's it, with zero ego. I learn every single fucking day. I'm not that smart. I just seek advice from other people. And I think my life turned around when I realized that is the secret sauce to success in personal life, but also in business as well.
Can you break down?
I'll give you an example.
Yeah,
I'll give you an example. So I'm on this health kick right now, and one of the girls someone in my company was eating this delivery on-demand food for her diet, and she's like, "I've been in the last 6 months," and she comes to my office. "You got to call this guy. He's amazing." And I looked at her, and I realized one thing: I don't want to look like that.
Right.
6 months.
Right.
So it's that whole mindset and that whole process of thinking, just from a personal, but also in business. So to give anyone advice, both business and entrepreneurship, is seek, hire smarter people for advice, and make sure that it's not smoke and mirrors. There's a lot of people out there that are just full of their shit, and it's fake. So it's deciphering things through the social media people.
How can you know if someone's full of shit?
I don't know.
Like, is it a gut check? Is it intuition? Is it like?
Well, I mean, it's being aware of anything, like the wording, this, that, press releases, this, whoever they say they are, validate it. And you'll know.
Right.
President Trump. Thanks, President Trump.
Derek's always lurking in the chat, guys. He sees everything you guys say. He's in the chat. Okay, Derek.
Yeah.
So how did it feel? You got the biggest law firm in Silicon Valley to validate your idea. What was that like last night after that phone call?
It was a checkbox. You asked me if I was going to go celebrate, and I think you have checkoff lists when you have ideas. You have a checkoff list, and when I know exactly where we need to be, and it's just like getting it done. And you can tell everyone when I started this company how I scalped Rivian.
Okay, so I'm going to say the name of the company. The name of the company is called Stock App, and it's a very interesting idea. For Derek to get the domain name, he bought, I think, like 100,000 shares of Rivian at like 10.20.
Yeah, they were asking $300,000, and I would never pay that much for a domain.
So Derek does have capital to spend on that, but he's fucking frugal. So he day traded Rivian on like 20 cents. And when you're day trading with a lot of money, you can make a lot of money. And so he made the $25,000 he needed to buy the domain name. And that's how the company started. It was the fucking craziest story, but that was the beginning of the grind and the hustle for you. Okay. So last question for you then. Doubling down on this idea of it's not what you know, it's who you know. But I want to say something. Eric just wrote in there, money sure does open doors. Eric, I had nothing. Like, I started from zero. Yeah. A lot of people assume things, A lot of people assume.
I started at the bottom, very bottom.
Yeah.
But it was that focus, Eric, that I had, is surrounding yourself with smart. You seek that, and in time it evolves. And it's just, everyone has a life. You have a dream, you can accomplish anything. We live in America. Everything is at our fingertips. You have a body, you can dream your perfect body. It just takes a lot of work, right? It's the same mindset. Okay, so let's do this. I don't want to take you too long. Let's take like 5 more minutes with you guys. If you have questions in the chat, put in the chat. Like, this will be awesome to get Derek some questions. They're probably sick of me. You can delete. No. So last couple questions. Where do you find smart people? Someone just asked that. How would you increase your network if someone wants to? Like, it depends. It depends on what you're seeking, right? So you have verticals, and you go after those verticals. My answer to that question is you have to provide value. The only reason Derek knows me is because he found me on YouTube. So if you can produce value, it's also easier for other people to. What do you mean? You weren't value. You didn't even know what a market cap was when I met you. Okay, all right. Okay, mister. Even though that's true. I guess something kept you watching. It had to be the humor. It had to be the grinder jokes or something. I must be attracted to trannies.
I fucking hate you so much. Okay. Oh, I want to ask you this question. This what you know, not who you know. The argument, or who you know, not what you know, is the argument there that even if you're super smart, if you don't have anyone like good VCs or lawyers around you to help expand that field of knowledge, it just doesn't matter at the end of the day.
I think you're breaking up.
Oh, do you hear me now? You hear me?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, the argument there is that the what you know versus who you know is your broader point. Like, if you are super smart, but you don't have the people around you to expand that knowledge, then being super smart and having all these ideas doesn't matter because you don't have the right people in front of you.
No, you got to seek it, Amit. Like, okay, guys, here's a perfect example how I work. 3 months ago, Amit knows this. I went down to the University of Miami and I met with the professors and I said, "Can I sit in your class?" And they're like, "Why?" I go, I need some interns. And so they said, "Sure." So I'm sitting in class 2 days, spent time, and I see this kid with his back on backwards, calling defiant. He was arguing with the professor, walking up to the board, recorrecting. It was like a mathematics, physics, like computer science class or something. And the professor said, "Sit down and stop disrespecting me like you did yesterday. You came in 45 minutes late to our final exam." This was like 3 months ago. "And you got an 87%. For sure, you cheated." And the kid goes, "After class, give me it again." And he did. So he took the test and got a 97, 96%
Wow.
on it. And so kid walked out and I said, "So what's up with you?" And he's like, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm looking for smart kids." Seems like you're fucking smart. And he goes, "Yeah, I got a 1600 on my SAT." And I said, "Do you want to work? Do you want to be an intern? I have a project for you." And so the moral story is this. My partner wanted to buy a company for $1.6 million. I said, "Fuck that, I can build it." And I bet him I don't know what it was. And so I had this kid build something what this company did, and he built it in 5 weeks. I seeked that. That's it.
Right.
You got to go find it. You got to work hard for it. It's like, you want a great body, work hard for it. You want to be smart, work hard for it. You want to be successful in business, you got to seek out. It doesn't come to you. And if you can't find it, then you know what? Then you suck. Because I'm no smarter than anything. I'm a high school dropout.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So, yeah, crazy.
Okay, final question. Are you afraid of failure, given you're embarking on a new journey?
Zero.
You have zero fear of failing.
Zero.
Why?
If anyone ever asked me what was my biggest trait of me, I'm the most resilient and resourceful person on the planet. I figure it out. I solve problems fast, and once I latch onto something, I won't fail.
And I think that is the mindset you need when you're embarking on what you're about to build, which is a very, very exciting company.
There's zero tolerance for failure. You can't, you know what I mean? Like, if I spent 8 months thinking about it, and when you're an entrepreneur, you think of things, and I kind of say it's like from A to Z, and you think about A, B, C, D, all the transactions, all the technology, or the process, or the business model in general, and try to identify anything of failure in that model or idea. And I was stuck on M for a while until I figured it out, and I got to Z. Once I got to Z, there's no question asked, right? I don't care who you are. You tell me I'm going to fail, it's going to just push me to prove you wrong.
Right.
But you have to have fire in your belly, you know?
And you inspire me every day. At 54, having that fire, it's incredible to witness, dude. It is amazing. All right. You guys got a sneak peek of what Derek and I talk about. He calls me a tranny, but gives me life advice. So that's our conversations every day. Thank you, Derek. We appreciate it.
I can't believe that those meds have kicked in and gave you a beard. All right. See you later, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you too. Dude, he'll humble you. He will absolutely humble you. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy he got to call in and talk. He's building a company right now. It is just, dude, it's the coolest fucking thing in the world. He pitched it to me back in February. And it was just like an idea on a napkin, and I didn't really understand it, but I thought I understood it. And then over the past couple of months, like he's evolved how he's communicated. And I'm like, oh, this is, and then he showed me the demo the other day and I was like, oh, this is like really fucking cool. Can you invest in his company? It's going to be very hard because the round is like oversubscribed to a different level. Maybe in the future there's some way, but like, yeah, right. Like he's meeting with some of the best venture capitalists in the world that are begging him, like flying out to see him, spend days with him in his home to take their money because there's that much demand. So the idea is massive. The virality of the ideas is huge. It's B2B. It's not B2C. So it's not like some consumer product. But it is something where, you know, when you get a customer, they're going to pay a lot of money. It's not just going to be like, you know, $3 a month. So it's a massive idea, massive potential. Yeah. His Twitter's right there. Zocold put his Twitter in the chat. And if he pulls it off, like it's going to create massive returns for the people that are, you know, betting early. Now, the risk of failure is up there as it is with any startup, but given his past and the execution on the past 6 companies he sold, you guys can like look him up on Google too. You'll find all the companies and everything. And HubX, which is what he's building right now. The odds are very low that you fail when you've hustled that hard and you've been successful that many times. So it's exciting, dude. It's really cool. As Sam says, biggest failure is no action. 1000%. It is all about the journey. And again, guys, Derek's 54. Like he's older, right? Like when you're older, you tend to have a little bit less energy. You're not moving as fast. He has his own health issues, right? And he's like navigating all of that to build a fucking startup. Like who does that? You know, it's like it's inspiring to me just seeing someone get after it and not care. That's kind of how I feel, at least at this stage of my life with social media. Like nothing will stop me from doing the show. Right? Market open, market close. Nothing will stop me from hitting the numbers that I need to hit every day as I'm posting my content. Like it is absolute. It is unhealthy obsession. I mean, the other day I had to like literally put my phone away because I was just on Twitter all day. And like, you know, like when I'm on Twitter, I'm not just like on Twitter to have fun. Like I'm building a brand. I'm trying to create content. I'm trying to figure out how do I continue to grow, you know, the enterprise that we're building on Twitter. And it's one of the best platforms in the world to grow. So it's like the thing about Twitter, I said this before, is you can keep growing. That you don't have to stop. You could 24/7, you could be on Twitter and just keep growing. Same thing with YouTube. So it's like, unless you force yourself to be like, okay, I'm done for the day, you'll just be there for hours. And like, it's productive hours, but it's also like at some point you start being like, all right, I need to like just not do this anymore. So I think that level of obsession at this point is very important. And at least that's how I relate to Derek I'm not building, you know, a massive company from the way he is, but I'm building hopefully a massive brand, and it just takes a lot of fucking grind. Arun says my dad is 56 and he's active like any young dude. Same, you know, my dad's 63. He still works every day and acts like he's 23, but his health is catching up to him, like his shoulders. So he's getting old. It catches up to everybody, but to withstand all that, you know, and keep going, it's important. And it's exciting too. Like, because you have something to live for. I think that's the other thing. You know, Derek's obviously achieved a significant level of wealth in his life. At some point, you also you need something to care about, right? Like, you can't just stare at money all day. Like, you need something that wakes you up in the morning and actually gets you excited to like live. And when you're building a company, building a brand new idea, taking it to life, that can be, you know, something that wakes you up in the morning and really gets you going. So. It is exciting stuff. What happened to my startup? Well, everyone knows what happened to my startup. I, you know, ended up not finding product market fit. That's another reason why Derek's also inspiring to me, because we had to shut down my startup back in December 2023, gave back 50% of the money to investors. The craziest thing since doing that, dude, is like, it's been a rocket ship since we did that. Like, we did that. You think you're going down one path in life. It doesn't work. You need to have the fucking humility to pivot and to realize this is not the right path. I can go a different path. Then you need to have the balls to actually like try again. In this case, it wasn't trying to start up, but it's kind of like a startup. Like, you're building a real media brand. It's not literally, it's obviously a different idea, but it's still trying something different and going from 0 to 1. And then when you do the pivot, you have to actually succeed. I think that's another reason I've been so in the grind this year. And I can say that with like all humility, because I actually do feel I I sleep and I work. And as soon as I wake up, my work begins because it's getting ready for the show, getting ready for the market, start posting content. And I know some people like be like, oh, you're like, so there was some comment the other day. I was like, oh, you post about stocks all day on Twitter and you think you're working. I'm like, you are the fucking dumbest person on the planet. This is why most people don't understand what brand building is. The most important thing in the world is attention. And understanding how to sustain that attention, build that attention, get people to give a fuck about you, like Derek, to the point where even if I sound dumb on the show, he still wants to reach out to me to get me to invest in a company that could be worth $1 trillion one day. Like having an understanding of that asset class, which is the most important asset. It's more important than crypto, real estate, stocks. It's attention. And knowing how to build that is very difficult to do. It's not an easy thing to do. And so, yes, you're on Twitter all day, but there is a science behind that art. And that's incredibly important. So the point is once you realize that you failed at something, like what I did in December, and you have to pivot, now it becomes not only do you want to prove people wrong and like build something successful, but you want to prove it to yourself that you that you can fucking work, that you can actually like grind at something, and you can build and you can try. And so for me, the reason why Twitter and YouTube has just worked out so much is because I've come to the conclusion I'm less of an entrepreneur. I'm more of a natural content creator. I'm more of a person who is able, and I think you guys can tell as well. I can get my ideas out there, whether it's through written format or camera and video, more than I am someone who's like legitimately building like a tech startup, right? And that's okay. We have strengths and we have weaknesses, but to be able to recognize that, pivot, and then this year has been real hyper growth, dude. Just like it's been growth that I've never seen before. I've never been behind something. No, we got all the grinder behind jokes. I made some good jokes on that call with Steve, dude. I kept a poker face. They were really good jokes in my opinion. Again, going back to being humble, there's so that this year has been hyper growth at a different level, at a very different level, and it's not just hyper growth in terms of money, because on the investing side, things have gone well. Let's hope the end of the year, holds up. But in terms of the brand, the personal brand, the opportunities, obviously getting to interview Vlad and meet Carp and like just all this shit that's happened. It's been real growth. I've never been at a situation where something has grown so fast, so quick. But when you do that, there's two things. You know what it feels like to not grow super fast and super quick, which is in my previous startup, it's like there was no growth. I mean, there was some growth, but it was inconsequential compared to the growth that's happening now in terms of my brand. And so it's like what's that quote? I've been a rich man and a poor man, and I pick rich every time. Like, dude, I've not grown and I've experienced growth, and I pick growth over no growth every day of the fucking week. It is a different level when you're actually growing something versus when you're stuck and you just can't figure out how to grow. But number two, because of the experience of growing and you know what it takes to grow, when you don't grow, meaning when you don't do what you need to do in order to enable the growth, it's a mental health apocalypse. Meaning when I can't do the show, when I can't get on Twitter, when I'm downstairs and my mom's trying to tell me something and I'm trying to get a tweet out, and it's almost like I have this like anger inside of me, which I shouldn't have, right? Because she's trying to tell me something, but I'm like, I want to like tweet. I want to keep growing, but like she's trying to tell me something, which is toxic. I know. And it's like, I'm trying to resolve those issues and trying to like actually set boundaries and stuff. But like when you can't do what you need to do to grow, it will kill you if you've experienced the growth. Kind of like when you go broke after making money, like it is like, and you got to build it again, which Derek, by the way, he didn't mention it on the show, but he fucking, he lost everything in 2000 when the market collapsed, and he had to build everything from the beginning. So, it's like when you experience the loss of everything, it's like, you're just so inspired to keep going and so motivated to not stop. So now at this point, I can't imagine stopping, dude. Like I just can't imagine taking a break. I can't imagine not doing it. It's like, because once you have very few opportunities in life where you can actually grow something. And I'm not just talking about Twitter or YouTube or a startup. I'm talking about like even if you're at even if you're selling, I don't know, let's say you're like selling a particular item that is very niche. Like, I don't know, I'll use a silly example, like water bottles, right? Like you started a little Shopify store, you figured out a Facebook ad hack and the ad's working, and you're getting all these orders and you're like shipping the product from China. Maybe it's a unique water bottle not a lot of other competitors are selling. And you like find this growth hack, even if it's something as simple as like a water bottle Shopify store. Like when you're obsessed with that and it's working, it's so hard to get anything in business, much less life, to work. When it starts working, you just never want to let it not work, right? I think this is like the Zuckerbergs of the world and the Jensens of the world. Like now that something's working, they're just going, balls to the wall in terms of making this continue to work, continue to grow, because you'd have very few opportunities to get things to work. So I think when you're in that zone, like that zone is a zone that's scary, because then you think about what happens if I lose it all, right? But that zone's also very motivating as well. Thank you for the comments on my favorite shirt. Uniformly at random says, this is my favorite shirt. Someone else said, this shirt makes you look like you have a grinder profile. So I like the duality of the comments. Do you miss us when you aren't here, Amit? Yes, I don't like not doing the show, which is why that week in California, when I had to do AIPCon, the only way I justified not doing the show, which is when all the roaring kitty shit broke out. So like that was like the week to really do the show, is because we had AIPCon. Otherwise, I would have I can't do it, bro. I just can't do it. I have to. It's like the show has become second nature. It's become one of those things you need to build, but also it's the consistency. Like you can't start something and then stop. And so far this year, outside of that week in California, we've done a market open, market close every fucking day. Like it's been every day. Here's the, and this is how I know it's been every day. I haven't updated this in a week because I do it every Saturday, but these are the numbers. I pay attention to detail on this. So we started January 2nd. This is the market open. And then last time I updated was July 5th. So I have about a week or two to update on this. Number of people who joined in the morning, 1339. Number of average views, 6,972. Average revenue per market open stream, $62. Now, obviously, do I think, spending time with almost 1,500 people every morning is worth $62? No. But it's not about the money, as I've said many times. This is what Derek will tell you as well, right? It's not about the money. It's about, are you building something? Are you really building something special? Like the figure investment that Derek got me into could return like 1 trillion times more, literally, than anything I would ever do on YouTube. But like I met him because he was one of these viewers every day for a few years until he finally reached out to me, right? So like this is what matters more. This is the attention. And then for the market close, we're at 1,000 people every day, 6,000 views, and like same $62. I found a video yesterday to kind of highlight the point. This is the most cringe video in the world. Like you guys are literally going to think it's the most cringe video in the world. I thought it was the most cringe video in the world, but the end of the video, as cringe as it was, it actually made a lot of sense. I got to show you guys this video. It kind of highlights the point I'm trying to make right now as well. Oh, I got to see if I can find it. I got to see if I bookmarked it on Twitter. Oh my God. It's a Grant Cardone video. Danielle, thank you for becoming a channel member. I appreciate it. Thank you, Daniel, for becoming a channel member. Means the world. Thank you, Daniel, for becoming a channel member. And I don't know if everyone claimed the Derek 50 memberships, but if you haven't, I think you can click on that and claim the membership. It's this video of Grant Cardone, dude, and it's such an important video. And I'm not the biggest Grant Cardone fan. I think he's a little interesting. But I don't really consume his content. But this video popped up on the feed, and I was like, oh my God, this video. Oh, I found it. Here we go. Okay. It's a cringe video. It's 1:14. You're going to say it's super cringe. Wait till the last 5 seconds. Because I think you'll get the point. All right, here we go.
Yes, sir.
My name's Francis Cook. So I'm a small fish in a big pond. I have a mindset question. So I took out 2 loans to get here today. I don't even have money for a hotel.
Give him a big hand, guys.
Thank you. Yes, I've slept in my car the past 2 nights, but I just wanted to show up. So my question is, how do you 10x your mindset to like break through that fear of just like getting to the next point?
Well, it seems to me like you've already done that. You need to pick up a check. Like I would tell you before today is over, you should get somebody to give you $500. And
there we go. All right. Well, that worked. So somebody asked, what do I do?
Hold on, bro. Bro, do not talk through the close.
This is not the lesson. This is still the cringe part. The lesson is coming up in 20 seconds.
I didn't promise him I would do it. I never met him, don't know him. And I just gave him the most valuable thing in the world, dude. Attention.
So I know it was cringe. I get it. It was very cringe seeing him get money from all these random people and stuff. But that last sentence, it made me be like, all right, it was a decent video. And the concept of he put him up on stage and he gave him the attention. And when you have the attention, replace the word attention from momentum in the context of Derek, right? Like he got a lot of momentum yesterday when he signed up that law firm. In the context of, me and what I've been doing when we hit 6,000 people on a Pouncer stream, that's a lot of attention. That's a lot of momentum. When you have something that is a fuel under your ass to keep you going, you don't let go of it ever. You don't let go of it. And so from a social media perspective, to me, that's attention. Like when you have the attention, you hold on to it, because if you can grow it and really grow, and it's unlimited growth, right? You can get millions and millions and millions of followers if you can keep building your brand. You can build businesses on that. You can get opportunities. You can meet people like Derek. There's so much you can do, but you have to build that asset. Or if it's not attention, if it's momentum, if it's just like progress on a startup, if it's just like, revenue growth 5% every single month, if you're able to keep that going. So the point I'm trying to make is when you have momentum behind anything you're building, it is very hard to let it go. And so for me, it's growth on social media and building. For someone like Derek, it's getting all of these fucking like the most elite, like when I mean the most elite people, dude, like the people he's meeting with are having dinner with Elon fucking Musk, dude. Like, and those people that are having dinner with Elon Musk are getting Derek into all these new opportunities that he hasn't had before. It is like when you meet the right people, as Derek was saying when he was on the phone here, it changes everything. And you've got to be humble enough to accept whatever you can from those people. But then when you meet those people and they want to work with you and you're able to get validation for an idea that you have, it changes the trajectory of your life. And so like when you're building anything, it's just a question of how can you get in front of more people? Part of that comes from getting fucking attention, whether that's through Twitter, YouTube, social media, passing flyers, whatever the fuck you got to do. It is the most important asset on the planet. It is the most important asset on the planet. It just matters more than anything else. Like take away all my money, dude. It would suck. But if I have attention, I'll find a way to keep going. And I noticed that's my strength post startup failure that I had, right? My strength was not building tech companies, whereas Derek, that's his strength, right? Like really building companies and like going in the financial models and all this shit. Like that's his world. He's not like a YouTuber or anything like that. He's not a Twitter guy. He's not a social media guy. I realized by December, I'm a social media guy more than anything. Like I'm an attention whore, but I like being an attention whore. And when you like being an attention whore, it's very easy to be an attention whore because then you just whore yourself out. And everyone, you tend to find a following of people that enjoy you being an attention whore. They give you the attention and then boom, there you go. Then you keep building the brand. Some people are like that. Some people aren't. But if you find what you're good at, which I think is the hardest part to do. And that's where it goes down to my mom, right? When you're raised the right way, you have the courage to try, then you have the courage to fail, then you have the courage to pivot. And I think you got to have all three. You got to be able to fail, or you got to be able to try. I've tried a lot of things in my life, failed at a lot of things. Then you got to be able to fail. And then you got to be able to realize, okay, if this didn't work, what can I pivot to actually work? And some of the greatest startups in the world, dude, fucking Airbnb was not like Airbnb. They went through a bunch of different pivots. All these companies, even Instagram, it was called Bourbon before it was called Instagram. Like all these founders, they find a way to just squiggle their way into doing what they need to do. And once you figure it out, you never know how much growth can actually be there. Derek says, I hate attention. I'd rather live in a box. Yeah, so we're so different, bro. Derek, like, he doesn't want TechCrunch, which if you guys don't know TechCrunch, it's like the big Silicon Valley newspaper. He doesn't want their coverage. Me, if I was a founder building what Derek's building, let me just say, if TechCrunch is not covering me, I'm going to be disgusted. I'm like, how the fuck are you guys covering anything but me? Okay. Do you know who the fuck do you know what I'm building? So I'm different. I want all of the glory. I want all the praise. I like it. I don't know. It feels, it's like validating, whatever it is. Like, I like that. Derek's different. He wants no one to even know who the fuck he is. And he just wants to build. And there's different strengths and weaknesses from that perspective. But if you know what you're good at, everything changes. If you know what you're good at, everything changes. And it's funny enough, sometimes you have to go through a lot of failure to figure out what you're good at. I have always been good at public speaking and communication. I was one of the best debaters in the fucking country. but I decided to build a tech startup. That was not my strength. My strength was not building technology. My strength was communication. And sometimes you have to go through the pain of like getting slapped in the face and be like, you are not like good at this. Like you gotta like, you suck. Like in the stock market, dude, over the past 2 years, if you're, if you haven't really made any level of returns, then something's wrong with your ability to pick stocks or analyze the market. Like there's some issue, right? Like if you're not even in an index fund, if you're like negative over 2 years, then like something happened, right? And you have to go back and analyze like, okay, what's going on? Why am I not succeeding at anything in this capacity? When I was building my startup and we were getting like zero growth, right? Like 0.01% growth, maybe month over month. It's like, okay, so I'm just not good at building this. I just can't do this, right? I'm not good at this. And sometimes it takes a couple of years to figure out, and it's a little humiliating, but it is what it is. And if you realize, hey, I'm just an index fund investor, I can't analyze a company like Robinhood or Palantir, and I don't have the patience to do that. So I'm just going to put my money in index fund, and that's going to be my philosophy, which is very fair for a lot of people, right? You kind of have to be obsessed with the markets if you're going to pick stocks. If I'm not a tech startup founder, I'm going to invest in the next big tech startup founder, like Derek. I'm not going to be the tech startup founder because I just can't do it. I tried to do it. I can't do it. It is what it is. I move on. I'm going to give more money to Zucks. Zucks can fucking do it. I'm going to give more money to Brian Chesky or Elon. They can do it. I'll sit back. And then same thing with social media. It's like a lot of people, sometimes try on social media and they can't break through. It's like, well, maybe people just don't find you interesting enough, or you don't understand the algorithm, which I think it's 50-50. I don't think it's just, you have to be good at content. You have to understand the science behind the algorithm. Like if you don't understand that, then you have to be willing to admit that to yourself. And so for me, I think I admitted that to myself in December, and I moved on. And I said, okay, so communication is what I'm good at. I'm good at communication for a long time. Every girl I talk to falls in love with me, given my communication skills. Why don't I give this love to the rest of the world? And that's where I did the pivot to content creation. Whoever asked the question about mid startup, good job. See, this is the thing about me, this is what I do when I talk, right? Like you ask a question and my brain goes to, see, Derek is very ADHD, right? And his brain is running 1 trillion miles an hour, but that's in the context of building business. My brain is running 1 trillion miles an hour when it comes to making content, which is why I can put out so many tweets and I can talk for 6 hours a day on these streams, is because I'm constantly just fucking, my brain is just running. I connect every little thing I can connect to, and that allows me to keep talking. Sometimes it doesn't always sound the smartest, but the point is we don't have dead airspace. Do you guys remember a year ago, I drank water for 30 seconds and we had dead airspace on the show? It was the weirdest thing. Now I don't drink water, even though I got this water right here, because I'm just talking and I'm just too excited to keep things going. So I think the point of the message is once you find what you're good at, you can't let it go, because there's so many few times in life you actually find something you're good at. I mean, it's very similar, this whole YouTube content thing, going from a tech startup to what I did in high school. I tried to do basketball, didn't work. I tried to be on the music team, the band, and I just wasn't the best at music. Quite frankly, I didn't put in enough work to be the best at music. I put in a lot of work in basketball, but from a height and genetics perspective, it was always going to fail. And then I found debate. And in debate, I don't know if I ever told you guys this story, but when we came back from camp in debate, we went to a camp in Texas, and this was going into my junior year. The topic just came out. Within 2 days, I cut meaning you wrote. That's just a debate term. I cut 50 pieces of evidence. I put it into a file, because for a debate, you do a lot of research. The first tournament wasn't for the next 2 months, but it was in Louisiana. I lived in Jersey, so we would have to get on a flight. Not every kid is allowed to travel because there's a limited number of spots, limited funding. And I sent that file to my debate coach. And my debate coach looks at this file after we come back from camp. This is end of August, early September. And he calls me into his office a couple days after I sent him that file. And he was like, did you cut all these pieces of evidence yourself? I was like, yeah. He's like, how long did it? I was like, it took me 48 hours. He was like, you just stayed up for 48 hours and you just cut hundreds of pieces of evidence. I was like, yeah. And at that moment, he decided, all right, I'm sending this kid to Louisiana. I'm sending him to Chicago. I'm sending him to California. I'm sending him to Utah. And then 3 other states that we went to. And Louisiana was the first one. And then at Louisiana, I got to quarterfinals that year. If I had not cut those cards, those 50 pages of evidence, if I had not submitted that work to my coach the day after the topic came out, because I was so inspired for whatever reason, because I went to that debate camp, I would not have had the work ethic or the credibility from the coach to put me on the flight to get me to that first tournament. And then I did well at the first tournament. So he was like, all right, let's send him to another tournament and another tournament and then another tournament. And then I started winning. And then he was like, I think we actually got someone here, right? Because a coach looks at like 15 kids and only, it's like startups, right? Like as a VC, you're like, I hope one of these 15 kids, one of these companies blows up. And then even though I had a beard and my mom calls me a terrorist, I blew the fuck up. Okay. And so as a result of that, I ended up becoming one of the best debaters in the country, but it came from that work ethic that like was just ingrained in me because I saw the results. And then I never let it go. Then I got obsessed with the debate. Then I gave up everything. The only thing I had in senior year was a girlfriend. Every friend, every social life, all out the window. And I stayed obsessed with debate. And so I think it's the same thing now with building a brand on YouTube and social media. Like I don't care about anything other than growing this because you have an opportunity. And if you have an opportunity, you have to fucking take that opportunity to the next fucking level. It's just like Derek, for example, like Derek got one of the best law firms in Silicon Valley. Like they don't take 99% of the deals, right? Like they take deals to represent companies that they think are going to become worth $100 billion fucking dollars. That's the law firm he got last night to like be like, all right, we're going to represent you. And you know, he was like, all right, so we got this law firm. And I was like, dude, like this is a big deal. And he was like, yeah, it's cool. I was like, no, you need to that's why I said, like, go celebrate. Like just take this is a very big fucking deal. You need to step back a little bit and realize how big of a deal it is. And it's funny because I was giving him that advice and it was the same type of advice I got from my mom and a couple of friends after I did the Vlad interview. Because I was just like, all right, we got the interview done. Let's post it. Let's get it out there into the world. And, you know, a couple of friends had to be like, dude, you just like interviewed like the CEO of Robinhood. And I was like, yeah, it was dope. They're like, no, like you don't get it. Like you just like, you literally and I'm like, yeah, but like now we got to get the next one, right? We can't do a one-off thing. Like now we got to get Carp. Now we got to Kathy Wood. Now we got to get Peter Thiel. Like, so I think when you're in the zone, like Derek is right now building a startup, it's like, all right, it was a checkbox, right? And like other people can realize how big of a deal it is, but and if you're really in that zone, you don't really realize how big of a deal it is because you're just fucking like, all right, we got Vlad, but like, I can't be a one-hit wonder. I need the next interview, right? I need the next really big moment because momentum can die very quickly if you're not continuing to grind. And so it's very important. The no GF was because you were in debate. So no, I said the only thing I had my senior year was a girlfriend. I gave up everything else. So that actually made it easier to not have a lot of friends my senior year. Not that I was antisocial or something, or I didn't talk to people. It was just like during lunch, I would go do debate work, right? When you have 40 minutes, I would go to the library. I wouldn't talk to friends at lunch because I was like, I'm wasting my fucking time talking to you guys. Like I need to go get ready for this tournament that's coming up in 2 weeks. And it was one of the most exciting grinds of my life. Every day I woke up, this is kind of, I think what Derek's feeling right now is building the startup. It's like you have a mission. Every week I was traveling, I was going to Chicago and I was like, all right, at this tournament, I got to be number one. At this tournament, maybe, that guy's a little bit better than me. So we're going to end up clashing in the quarterfinals. Like every week, you know that you're about to go into war and build something. And so I didn't have time to talk to friends, but I ended up getting a girlfriend because, that situation evolved to be what it is. And so that made it easier because you had something and someone who cared about you and you were able to conversate with. But in general, it's not easy to have other people in your life when you're trying to build something. It's very difficult. You need to learn how to say tournament without a Boston accent. Dude, do you guys notice when I was on the phone with Steve, I was like, Steve, I'm not being facetious. I couldn't say the word facetious. I still can't say it. I was like, Steve, because I was trying to say the whole threat thing. I'm not being facetious with it, but I couldn't say it. I couldn't fucking say it. Facetious. I can't say it. Massachusetts, physician, facetious. I can't say these words with the S's and the H's and how they conglomerate together. It ruins my capacity to speak, and I'm supposed to speak for a living. So anyway, the point is, it's time to fucking work, bro. And if you're building something, and that's why Derek is such a fucking motivation, dude, because he's building at this age and he's going and he's grinding and he doesn't complain. Dude, he sent me financial models the other day. I was like, you know how to do financial models? He was like, yes, you fucking idiot. I've run a $600 million company. I know how to do financials, but it's like, I was like, I didn't even know. I thought someone did that. I thought you're like, you had some intern or some CFO or someone. Like he sent me a full decked out Excel sheet with like 17 different tabs of like numbers. And I was like, I didn't know you could do this. But he's been grinding for 3 months, like thinking of like, how's the company going to get to XYZ amount of revenue? Because when you're so obsessed, you're upset. That's why people are like, oh, why don't you hire people to help you with YouTube? I'm like, no, like, there's no one can write my tweets for me. I've got to do this shit, dude. I've got to be here. I've got to fucking work. Shout out to Futbucker in the chat. I met Futbucker. Oh, I didn't even show you guys the pictures. So I met Futbucker, Adam, and Chris last night. Here's the pictures. Can you guys see this? Oh, here we go. That was great. Futbucker's really tall. His mustache is incredible. It's great. So you guys are selfie. There's Adam looking like he's a Coke king from Miami. There's Chris. And then I'll post these so you guys can see them better. And then here's me and dude, look at this guy's mustache, dude. Look at this shit. There's Empire State Building in the back. That's great. Futbucker has seen my journey for a long time, dude. He's been here since fucking, how long is dude? Since 2021, early 2022. He's been here since for the beginning. So appreciate you, Fut. But it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. Shout out to Trader Status Quo for gifting a membership. Thank you, man. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for gifting the membership. But yeah, I'll send it to you, bro. I'll text it to you in a second. So it's like, dude, when you're in that grind, it's like you just don't let it go ever. You cannot let it go. I think that's the biggest thing I learned this year. And again, I think I have some authority to say it, not because I'm literally in the grind, but because I'm in the grind after a failure, right? And so when you failed at something and then you start something new, you don't want to go back to failing, and you're going to have little failures in it, but you don't want to, have a massive failure again. And like, if you have massive failures over and over and over again, it means you're just not learning. You're just not trying. You're like if you realize your strengths and weaknesses in between the failures, when you start the new thing, if you have the courage to start the new thing, you should not be failing as much because you are leaning into your strengths, not your weaknesses. The reason you probably failed on the previous thing was because you leaned into your weaknesses over your strengths, which is why you weren't good enough. And so I think that level of self-awareness and progression is so fucking important. And it's what you have to do to keep going to the next level. November 2021. Yeah, right when the Palantir videos came out. That was the beginning. And the thing about Palantir, guys, the other thing people don't realize is like the Palantir grind itself, like that grind was an internal grind in and of itself. Because like when I posted that first video and it got 1,000 views in a day, I already had an investment in Palantir. So for me, like a lot of these YouTubers are starting to talk about Palantir because they know it'll give them attention. And I get it. Like that's just part of the game. But for me, I already had money in the company. So I was like, I already somewhat know about this company. I was not an expert by any means, but like I was already intrigued. So I was like, let me start making more videos. And at that moment, I realized, holy fucking shit, there is a supply-demand imbalance. It was one of those eureka moments, bro, where I was like, oh my God, like I know something about something that no one else in the world knows about. I know that on YouTube, this platform that has 3 billion people using it every month, there are more people searching for this keyword and wanting to consume content around this topic than there are more creators to supply the content in order to give the content out for the demand that is chasing that keyword, which in this case, the key concept was Palantir. And as soon as I realized that, I was like, okay, so how do you build a brand? You got to get people to care about you. How do you get people to care about you? You have to give value. How do you give value? You realistically have to get people to give a fuck about at least something to hone in on the attention. And then you can expand from there. And so at that moment, I was like, oh, so Palantir will be the subject that creates my identity. And so you have to check some boxes. Is it an interesting enough subject? And I took a risk at them and I was like, yeah, I think so. Second of all, are you creative enough to keep talking about it in an interesting way? And you know why I thought I was going to be able to pull that off? It was a stupid thing. They had so many SPAC investments. I was like, oh, I can make one video per SPAC. So I was like, oh, they have 15 SPACs. That's 15 videos. I was like, I have the next 2 weeks of content ready to go. And then within those 2 weeks, they get this deal and that deal. And Carp says this and this. I was like, oh shit, there's like more content than I can even imagine on Palantir. Like this, I thought I was going to talk about SPACs, but like there's a lot more here. So that was the second question. And then the third question was, do you have the work ethic to actually create that much content daily, given I had a job and I was trying to build a startup at the time? And I just said, yeah, because this is what it takes to get attention. And then boom, then that was the grind. And, then I started caring about the company so much because I actually like cared about my investment and all this. And then the stock went to $6. And so you get a little bit emotional and be like, fuck it, I'm not going to be wrong. So you really figure out if this investment is stupid or not. And then the journey just ends up being what it is. So there wasn't positive comms about Palantir. Yeah, the deals were positive, but the overall, perception of the company was wrong. But I kind of, as a content creator, you kind of needed that drama, right? This whole NHS nonsense, the Brits running around. And again, I love the Brits, but the Brits running around saying that, Karp is the most evil guy in the world. It was interesting to cover. And it was interesting for people to consume, the perspective of like a Palantir investor against these crazy people thinking that Palantir is going to take, steal their data, and then get the perspective of all the crazy people thinking that Palantir is going to steal their data. And so I made enough videos to cover that drama that it was part of building the brand. There was a moments in time that you cover as a content creator to try to build distribution. And it's important because I feel like there was a lot of FUD going around the whole NHS stuff, and you kind of needed some pushback. And that was the point of the content at that time. Yeah, as Fuckbucker says, if everyone loved Palantir, it wouldn't have been so awesome. It was asymmetric, dude. Same with Robinhood. Me and Futt were talking about Robinhood yesterday in the Uber. It's like, dude, at $8, everyone thought it was dead. And I'm like, I use this product every day. And Futt was like, dude, everyone I know has a Robinhood account. Like, how is it? And then, so it became an easy investment, right? Same thing with Grindr. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I don't use it, but I feel like there's some asymmetry there. I could be wrong, but I'm just like, we'll all explore this thesis together. But the point is, you just got to know something that the rest of the world doesn't know. And I think uniquely it's about your strengths and weaknesses. And if you know your strengths, which in my case is communication, undoubtedly, after being alive for 26 years on this planet, almost going to be 27 in October, I feel like at some point you got to get old enough to just recognize what the fuck you're good at and what you're bad at. And like, I suck at math, dude. Like, when it comes to like analyzing investments, I'm not the best at it yet, but I can look at like a PE and like kind of make sense of it. But that's not really math to me. Math is like, dude, I got a C in calculus in college. Like, I sucked. And it was embarrassing because my mom was a math teacher. So I would come home and like get like the C minus B plus. And my mom would be like, dude, my mom's like, I'm a math teacher. How the fuck do you suck at math? And why I sucked at math is because I cared so much about communication. I was great at debate because I love the art of communication. And I was really natural, dude. Like, I had to hone my skills, but I knew the first time I went into a debate round, I was like, oh, like, this is how you make the judge laugh. You guys think I make you guys laugh in the fucking stream. If you guys watch my debate rounds, the amount of stupid analogies and metaphors that are quote unquote stupid, but in the course of a speech, when you're talking 500 words a minute and you just slip in that little joke. I have 3 kids I coach in California, and I was talking to them the other day in our session. I was like I was kind of coaching them on how to be funny a little bit. I know you guys can be like, oh, Mick coaching how to be funny. There's no way. But like, I was trying to get them to like realize, guys, when you're like when you have a little joke in you, a little personality, the judges, they want to vote for you. They don't want to vote for some boring fucking kid in a suit. Like, I had a hoodie on, I had a snapback, like I was like different, and then my communication matched that. And that's why I was successful. But I was not good at figuring out the derivative of the cosine of the tangent of the sine, right? Sine, cosine, tangent, or whatever, of the Pythagorean theorem. Like, I wasn't good at that. I wasn't good at that shit. So my strengths were not in math, which is why I also sucked at computer science. I tried coding, and coding is not really math, but like, you need to have a very analytical mind, in my opinion, to code. Yes, you need to be creative, but the core of it, you need to be analytical. And I remember the teacher was like, make a program for like a simulation of if you flip the coin, the probability that it goes heads or tails. You had to like make some program that like simulated that. I looked at that shit in Python. I was like, I'm going to marketing. Fuck this. I'm not like, it just wasn't in me. Right. And so but see, I remember calling my mom that day and I was like, Mom, I'm dropping this major. And she was just like, this is the good thing about my mom. She was so supportive. She was like, so why are you? And I was like, Mom, I know I'm setting myself up for failure here. Like, I just know. And my dad was a little upset about that, but my mom understood why. And then I moved on. And when I moved on, I started fucking succeeding at the other, major, not really because I cared about the major, but I was like learning more stuff. I was able to do different things. I had more time. So I was able to start a couple businesses and all this stuff. And I started my debate consulting, but like everything changed when I dropped a shitty major that I knew I wasn't going to succeed at. I don't even, dude, if I can't watch a movie, you think I have the attention span to study all night in a library for fucking mechanical engineering? I had 4 friends who were girls, not girlfriends, but friends who were girls, even though I made out with one of them. And we would stay at the library every day in senior year. And And they were all engineering majors. And so they made fun of me because I was a business major. And because like business major, I just like sent emails the whole time. And I was like they were like actually doing hard problems and shit. And like, they would make fun of me because I was like, just like doing nothing while they were studying. They were like doing intense studying. I could never for 7 hours, even if I had 4 Red Bulls, study mechanical engineering and then go to an exam and then like try to like analytically work through these mechanical engineering problems. Like, that's not me. But if you put me in front of 5,000 people and give me 5 minutes to prepare a speech around a topic, like, dude, I'll do that in my sleep. Like, I don't care. That's exciting. That's a challenge to me, and that's fun. I did make out with one of them, dude. Like, I just, you know what I'm saying? She was feeling the boy, you know. It's just it is what it is, dude. It is what it is. It was actually long after we should have hooked up, but she had a boyfriend at the time, and I was trying to be very respectful because I actually like that was my guy. So, but she was giving signals, and at some point I was just like, dude, you got a man. Like, we can't do this, you know. But anyway, the point is, like, I figured out at a young age, I'm not analytical, I'm creative. And there's analyticalness in my creativity, but it's weighted towards the creative part, which is where the communication stuff comes in. Like all this stuff about Amit, have you ever tried stand-up comedy? No, but I want to one day. I got to go to an open mic. The reason the market open and market close works is because it's just storytelling. It's just communication. Now, you need to know what the fuck you're talking about and do research about the markets and like keep up to date. But I love that. So it's very easy to then talk for 3 hours when you're like obsessed with that all day. It's actually very easy to do it. And so a lot of times people ask, like, how do you talk for 2 hours straight? It's like, that's the least hard part. Like that's not the hard part. The hard part is not communicating it. The hard part is just making sure I have all the information so that I have enough to know what to communicate about. But the actual execution of the communication, that's like second nature. And I feel like once you know what, like for Derek, business is second nature. For me, business is not second nature. Communication is second nature. So once you know what you're really good at and it's second nature, I think you can then succeed from there. Imagine a bit when he gets old and needs to tell his kids about the good old days. Dude, my kids are gonna think I'm a rock star, dude. There's no way. My kids, the pictures I have from college, I wish I could show you guys them, but I don't want to like show other people from college because, like, you know, if they come on stream one day, that would be like super cool. But I don't want to show pictures of people that like don't want to be public or anything like that. But like I have so many fun pictures from college. Like, I really lived the college life, dude. Like, I fucking like my life now is incredibly boring compared to what I lived in college. But this year, my life has been very exciting, right? With all the traveling and opportunities and stuff. But over the past couple of years post-college, it is nothing compared to my senior year. My senior year, I was a fucking rock star, dude. I was like, it was the dopest year ever. And so we got a lot of pictures and memories. I think my kids will appreciate it. I also want my kids to like have a fun life when they get older and go to college and not be like rigid and shit and like scared to try things. Like, if you like a girl, you got to go up to her and like talk to her. You know, I want to make sure my kids have the courage to just try, because that's all my mom gave to me, and it's resulted in what we have today. But if you lose that courage, then like the odds of doing anything substantial, you know, that are really exciting in the world, it's not easy to get there. Amid playing Guitar Hero is not being a rock star. Okay, I did have Guitar Hero. All right. It was a good game, but no, I mean rock star in terms of just like I was working a job. I was driving 120 miles back and forth between school and my job. I was making like $7,000 a month, which at fucking 19 is like, or 22 is like, holy shit, I'm rich, right? I was going to a party every other night. I had a good group of friends who are girls, but like basically my senior year was me and 4 other girl friends, and we just did everything together. And I've always had girls as my best friends. I don't know why. It's just like, it just happens. Maybe I'm too feminine or something, but they became like my real clique my senior year, and we met each other like the first day of senior year. It was the craziest story how we met. Like it all just happened. And then every night we're just going to do something, going out. Like there was never a boring night. Senior year concluded with me throwing a banger at my apartment, dude. Like, when I mean a banger, it was such a banger I got COVID because it was March 12th, and obviously the world shut down March 13th, and obviously people definitely had COVID during that time. But it was a banger. I threw a surprise 21st birthday party for the girl I was talking to at the time, and all of her friends came over, and like it was one of those scenes from Project X where like the whole house is like jumping, like it was one of those days, right? And so its senior year literally ended on top of the world, and then we had COVID, and then everything went to shit. But it was fun. Girls love a yapper. No, actually, dude, girls love a yapper, but it's not just girls. It's I think people that can get your attention with communication. So, and in my experience, yes, like if you know how to talk to a girl or just talk in general, like they like someone who can talk, right? Who's not just like staring at them with the intention of like doing something sexual, but can actually like listen to them. And it's just like, it's one of those things that's important. And then same thing for building an audience. It's like, you need to not take advantage of the audience. You need to actually talk to them as if they're real people and engage with them, not just be ready to sell them the course. And so the authenticity of that communication, whether it's with girls or with the broader social media audience, I think that matters. Okay, how long have I been talking? Someone asked one question and then I went off for fucking like 2 hours. What did your dad say? My dad, it was funny, dude. My dad said this will be the worst decision of your life. It was actually hilarious, dude. It was so funny. We were sitting in the living room and he was like, this will be the worst. He said it in his Indian accent too. And my mom was just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, it's not even that big of a deal. And in that moment, I just had to, my dad wasn't saying it from a bad space. It was just like, he knew that he worked his ass off as an entrepreneur. He didn't want me to be an entrepreneur. He wanted me to like get a corporate job, and me giving up that degree was basically me accepting I wasn't going to be working for anybody, quite frankly. Like me saying no to that degree meant I was fucking going out on my own and I was going to do my own thing. But the thing is, my dad really couldn't make a big deal out of it because within 6 months, I started making money, like real money, because of my coaching business. So I was able to pay for the rest of college. Like it got to the point where he was like, he just trusted me, And but when you put up the results, it's like it's easier for you to also feel confident. And so that's the same thing with Twitter and YouTube. It's like when you come back every morning and 1,000 people show up, and then 1,500 people show up, and then 2,000. It's like when you're seeing the results because you're putting in the work, you keep showing up to see the results, to keep putting in the work to get even bigger and bigger and bigger, and you just never stop. Because if you do, then everything sucks. Persian Prince says our son is unemployed. People with those comments, it's funny because it's laughable to me, because I think sometimes people put that as a comment as like a little jab at you, like, oh, you're unemployed. Dude, my parents are the most proud they have ever been of my unemployment, because all of my employed friends are not interviewing the CEO of Robinhood. They're not getting the CEO of a $65 billion company to mess with your hair at a event. They're not moderating panels for one of the most important tech companies in the world at their halftime show in front of 5,000 people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to have a different mindset. It's not about being unemployed. First of all, I'm doing more work than my employed friends. So when I think of unemployed, I think of people that just sit home all day and like leech off other people and don't do anything. So from my perspective, I'm working. Some people may think making content is not work. That's okay. We went through why that's a very important, different understanding of how work leads to attention, which leads to outcomes. But besides that, you're getting opportunities because you're unemployed, because you decided to take a risk, and then you're working your ass off to keep those opportunities expanding, and you just end up being a lot cooler than your quote unquote employed friends. And that's why like it's never been weird to me, like over the past couple years, being quote unquote unemployed. Like I don't even think about being unemployed. I'm like, dude, I'm fucking working all day. What do you like? I'm not filing for unemployment. Like I'm working. Like I'm getting shit done throughout the entire. It's funny. It's really funny. My mom and my sister, because they work at a school, they're home for the week, or home for the next 2 months, right? Because July and August is summer break, and so legit, they thought, I do my stream in the morning, and then my sister definitely thought, she thought like I sleep. She thought I sleep the whole day, right? Like she thinks like I just don't do any work. And now that they've stayed home and they actually see how many meetings I'm in, how many phone calls I have to take, because really my job is about connecting with people. So I'm constantly on the phone with different people and connecting and talking and this and that and doing all these different things, and then content creation and videos. It's like, it's a full fucking day. Like I don't see my mom until 7 p.m. when I go downstairs after I got through the workday. And so they finally get to realize like, no, when we leave him and he's home all day, like he's actually like working. And so it's good that they finally got to see that, but it was funny because they definitely did not think that I'm they definitely did not think that I'm working, dude. And I get it, but it's like, no, this is really tough, dude. This is really, really tough. It's like, You gotta work. You gotta fucking work. Isn't Dan Ives unemployed? Yeah, anyone who's an entrepreneur is unemployed. It's just a fancier way of saying you're unemployed. But like my mom the other day, dude. My mom fucking like she needed me to take something to like the recycling area, and I had to drive 10 minutes. And I was doing a long stream that day. Like the stream, for some reason, I think because Palantir was running, it just ended up going longer, right? And so the place closes at 1:30. I'm still on stream at like 12:15. And then she's like texting me like, hey, I need you to go. I need you to go. I need you to go. I need you to get this thing. And then the stream ends at like 12:20-ish. But then I get a phone call. And I get a phone call from someone where I need to pick up that phone call. I can't not pick up that phone call. So then I have to talk for the next 20 minutes. And then I go downstairs and she's upset because I got to take this thing to some recycling thing. And I had to tell, I was like, Mom, I know you might think that I'm not always doing stuff constantly because my job is very different from like a traditional 9-to-5. But this task of putting this thing in this recycling bin or area, whatever that I have to drive to, it is interfering with my workday. And my workday, even though it's not looking like work, it is a lot of fucking work. These are phone calls you can't miss. When Palantir's running, you can't end the stream early. That's not the time to end the stream. People want the coverage, right? You got to be there. And so for the past couple of days, the streams have actually been very long on the market open. So she's had to realize like, oh, he's like working, right? And she's like cooled off on like doing these remedial house tasks. It's not that I don't want to do it. I do a lot of things in the house. It's just that during these hours, my 9-to-5, during the 9 months of the year when I have the house alone to myself, I'm actually working when I'm alone in the house. And sometimes I think my parents think like I'm not like doing anything. And so this time in the summer, they finally got to see like, oh no, like he really has to, like he cannot be disturbed by taking something to the recycling center, which can be done later, even if the place is closing early that day. Because like there's actual shit that's getting done, you know? I think you are making them longer so you do not have to do mom's to-do list. I'm making the streams long. No, dude, I do a lot of stuff in the house, man. I do a lot of stuff. And I like helping my mom around that. There's nothing like, I've done that for years, dude. Me and my mom joke around that when I get married, like I'm gonna have to come over to her house every week just to help her out. And she's gonna have to steal me from my wife because I help her. Also, I have the patience. My sister can't help my mom. My sister doesn't have the patience. My mom will, my mom needs someone who can sit there in the garage while she's telling you to move around stuff and be patient. My sister like cannot sit for more than 2 minutes. She will like start getting upset and all this stuff. Like my sister's just a different breed, right? And I'll get upset. I just won't show that I'm upset. I'll just like pull out my phone and I'll be tweeting in between. She's telling me to go do stuff. My mom will be like, get off your phone. And I'll be like, Mom, I'm here. I'm helping you. I need to like put out this tweet, right? So I help around a lot, but there's some parts of the house that I just don't need to be doing, because when someone calls you and you have to pick up, that phone call can be worth a lot more, than taking out the trash at that moment. So, it's just a different perspective. Going back to the unemployment thing, I just never felt unemployed because I feel like I'm fucking working a lot. He wants Figure to clean his house. Yes, exactly. I need robotics to clean the house. Poor Amit can't even bring his grinder date home. Dude, I'm gonna download the app now. I don't even think I've downloaded yet. Yeah, I haven't downloaded yet. See, I can prove I haven't downloaded yet. I think I need to do some fucking research on this app, dude. I'm downloading it. Again, you can make whatever jokes you want, but I feel like I laid out a thesis, bro. I really do. I think we, and I told Chris and Steve, and so we're not gonna get my thesis. We're gonna get Chris's thesis. Chris, I trust Chris a lot. I trust Steve. We'll see what they have to say, dude. Sorry, Vlad. Gotta recycle. Dude, remember when I was interviewing Vlad in the fucking after Q1 earnings, and my mom just didn't know for some reason, even though I thought I told her, and she's like yelling my name from downstairs to like come down on the deck to help her with something. And I had to text her like, Mom, I'm interviewing the CEO of Robinhood right now. Like, oh, Robinhood just quote tweeted me. Yo, talk about irony. Robinhood just quote tweeted me on Twitter. This is, wow, that's ironic. Yo, Robinhood is lit. They have 1 million followers. They just, this is great. They quote tweeted the tweet. So the tweet I put out when someone said, like basically Schwab is ridiculous, and I just put a picture of Vlad on top of this person complaining about Schwab. Robinhood just quote plus 1,000 aura. Oh, that's great. That's fucking great, dude. That's so cool. It's so weird. It's like the social media manager of Robinhood is watching the stream, and as I'm talking about Robinhood, they were like, "Oh, what's a really smart thing is while he's talking about Robinhood, let's fucking quote tweet his post and see if he keeps talking about Robinhood." So if you're out there and you're watching in the stream, very smart move. Very smart move. Incredibly smart move when you just now. That's awesome. That's great. But yeah, like we were interviewing Vlad and fucking she's like, we got to come downstairs to help me with the deck. I'm like, Ma, I'm interviewing at this point a billionaire. He owns 50 million shares. It's $20 a share, $23. So it's like, I need a minute. Like I need to finish this thing. They posted a minute ago. Yeah, literally. Dude, maybe they're in the chat. Maybe they're listening. They're fucking smart. Who's ever running their social media is smart. That's funny. That's awesome. That's so cool. Amid complaining about his chores on the live streams as content. No, it's true, dude. Like it's like there's some things because when you're actually in the grind of building, you start thinking about opportunity costs. The same thing with investing, right? When you're like in a stock and it's like SoFi or PayPal, and you're like, all this money could have been in Robinhood or Palantir. It's like it's just sitting there, like my PayPal is just dying there, evaporating. Fucking Steve with his Alex Chris needs to do a threat, but please do a threat. Get the stock to fucking move up, please. I'm tired of bag holding this stupid PayPal thing. When you're seeing the opportunity cost, you start to realize how much more productive assets could be in a different area. So when I'm doing the laundry and I realize I could be, doing something else that's very productive in my career or taking out the recycling or whatever, I'm like, it like bugs me, dude. It's like, because again, the nature of this job, this industry you're in content creation, it is 24/7. You could be working forever. So unless you actually, it's not a 9 to 5 where you're done with work and you can like focus on other stuff. It's like at 6:43 p.m., you're responding to people on Twitter. And that's building brand at the end of the day. So it's like sometimes you see that opportunity cost and you're just like, you can't handle the fact that you're doing something remedial when you could be doing something more productive. And I get it's just a way of like, it's about resolving the balances between those, which is not easy to do. Vlad is here on his fake account. Dude, we know Vlad stalks the fucking YouTube videos, right? With Tanner, do you guys remember with Tanner? Tanner's like, you guys all know Tanner. Like he has a good fintech channel on YouTube. Like Vlad DM'd him a while ago when Tanner asked, hey, do you guys issue the credit card or is it your bank? And Tanner was like, hey, if you can't respond, whatever, but I'm just really curious about this. And then Vlad was like, hey, I'm a big fan of your channel. We issue the credit card ourselves. So Vlad watches, dude, Vlad is there, bro. He fucking watches. He knows because he knows he has to keep the brand uptight. He knows that the brand took a hit a couple years ago. He wants to make sure people are engaged. He knows he's fucking innovating. Also, that app, I'm probably going to make this tweet over the weekend, but the app they acquired, Pluto, the founder of that app also follows me, and we've had a couple of back and forths on Twitter, not in DMs, but just on Twitter. Because he's a finance dude, and so he was like, I'm short Nvidia, long Apple, and I was like, oh, very interesting. And so we were going back and forth with that. But this dude, fucking rock star, Jacob Sansbury, like just smart kid, 24 years old, probably Robinhood bought his shit for like $30 million. There's no way. I don't think they paid less than 30 million. I don't think they paid more than 30 million. Probably it's closer to 25, to be honest. They raised, I think their last valuation was 12 million. So maybe they paid a double, which is like 25, not crazy. But this Pluto app, I think, I haven't done my full due diligence on it yet. I think this shit's going to be epic when Robinhood really builds robo-advising and AI and fundraising, not fundraising, but financial LLMs at a different level, like how you engage with financial content, how you get advised to create strategies. I think they're going to fucking do a different product that no one's expecting. So yeah, we know he watches. Imagine. Also, the Gold Card team emailed me the other day and they said, we can't give it to you yet because it's not available in your state. So part of the reason a lot of people probably aren't getting it is because there's some geographic rollout / restrictions in states, but they just said, hey, it's not available in New Jersey yet. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, so I didn't even ask for them to email. I don't know how they emailed me. I think they followed up on Twitter. I was like, guys, I wasn't tweeting about this, but like, yeah, sure. Let me know why I can't get it. And they said, hey, New Jersey is just not available. And I was like, okay. So I don't know if they're doing a state by state rollout. Maybe they're doing California first or something. I have no idea, but at least where I'm from in New Jersey, I don't think anyone in New Jersey is going to get that card anytime soon. Oh, you're in New Jersey too, Trader? Yeah, so that's probably why. I was like, oh, I guess you guys are doing a certain type of rollout that is based on geography. But also it's smart, dude. You don't want them to issue that much credit. I told you guys, I sat down with a dude a couple of weeks ago, and he works in the credit industry, and he walked me through a financial model on how he thinks Robinhood is going to make money off the credit card. And a lot of his projections were like conservative, but Robinhood was getting 2.3% by year 2 or year 3 on the 3% cashback. Even in year 1, there's a shot. It's probably not gonna happen, but year 2, year 3, it's like they're getting, and then by year 4, they're getting the full 3%, even 4%. Again, it's just based on how conservative you want to be on the estimates. But I don't think they're going to lose that much money on the card. They're going to lose some money in the beginning. That's also what the CFO said. But that's why you want to roll out slow, because you want to do it in a way that doesn't like clog the system. You have data behind how you're rolling the stuff out and make sure it's appropriate and scientific. But I think the credit card's going to be another reason they're going to fucking win. So eventually that'll play out. Vlad said, "Fut, you have been denied." Yeah, I think it'll be out for a lot of people. I should have bought the credit card at the dinner yesterday, Fut, even though it's not a real. It weighs though. It makes my wallet heavy. That's why I just like put it in my drawer. But like, it's no fun if it's just in your drawer. Like, I feel like I got to take it out when I go out with friends. I got to like slam it on the table, even though it's not real. Imagine I slammed it on the table and they took it back, the waitress, and they're like, "All right, you're good to go." I'm like, dude, it's fake. Like, that would be hilarious. But yeah, it'll be fun when that card is fully rolled out. When Hood adds tax lots and trailing stops and OCO orders, it'll be life-changing. Yeah, and we know tax lots are coming this year. Vlad said this year, so hopefully end of the year, everyone gets it. Okay. 3 hours on the dot. Wow, 282 people still here. All right. So that was fun. Hopefully you guys got some value from the ranting and from Derek joining the show as well, and you guys enjoyed. Emit in person even, please. If you're saying to like meet up and do stuff in person, I think 2025 we got to do meetups in person, dude. I think what, every quarter, what if we do 4 meetups in the year, 1 for every quarter? 1 in the UK, 1 in California. That's really easy for me. 1 in New York. That'd be really easy, but I don't know how many people are in New York. And then we got to do another international one. You know, my mom actually, she's going to a wedding in Germany, and she's allowed to bring another person. And we were thinking about today, should I come with her to Germany? But it's going to be tight because it's like, it's a wedding and it's like not going to be that easy. It's going to be in Berlin though. And I know a lot of people are close to Berlin. I think that's like one of the bigger cities in Germany. But I don't think I'm going to go with her to that one. Otherwise I would have done Germany. UK, you just want potatoes? Dude, the spuds, the jacket pockets, what do you call it? Jacket pockets or whatever. Jack pocket. It just looks cool on TikTok. It looked cool. Canada. Yeah, Canada's also easy, to be honest. Like Toronto's like an hour flight away. Canada wouldn't be that hard. California would be easy. Vegas would be easy. And then the UK. I feel like if we do one international, it's got to be the UK. It's got to be London, bro. I feel like I need to be in London. I feel like and I care about London now because so many of you are from London, and it's like, I feel like I got to go to London. Like, I feel like it's time at this point of life to see London and see I got to see Big Ben. I got to see, what else is in London? I got to see, I got to interview some people on the street about Palantir and see them complain about the NHS. That'll be fun. What else does London have? What else is special in London? Scott says, you inspired me to start my investing journey. Would love a meetup to say thanks one day. Yeah, I think it would be really fun, dude, for a lot of people to do a meetup. Fish and chips. Yeah, we got to see fish and chips. What else is in London, dude? London sounds kind of boring now that I think about it. Like what? Like, let's ask ChatGPT, because as I'm saying it here, all I'm getting is fish and chips and Big Ben. Give me 5 interesting things in London. Let's see what ChatGPT says. What are we going to do? Rain. Yeah, London has a lot of rain. That's true. The British Museum. Okay, that's going to be fucking boring. The Tower of London. Okay. The West End, London's vibrant theater district. Okay. Camden Market, known for its eclectic mix of food stalls, unique shops, and live music. The Natural History Museum. You know your country is boring when ChatGPT says the most 2 exciting things out of 5 things is 2 museums. Am I getting this wrong? Or is like, what's going on here? Like, this sounds kind of boring. Now, I still want to come, but it sounds kind of boring now. We're not going to museums if we're going to London. We got to do some other stuff. I'm going to search London on Google Images and just see, like, what does it look like? What does the overall atmosphere look like on London? Okay, so that's Big Ben, right? That's over there. Oh, these telephone booths. This is what we got to do. Yes. Oh, Abbey Road. How did no one say Abbey Road? That's in London, right? From the Beatles. We got to take pictures there. Abbey Road. Abbey Road's in London, right? Abbey Road, London. Yeah, it's an Abbey Road. I have to take a picture here, dude. I have to. I got to think of a good pose, though. Like, we got to do this. That would be fun. Okay, what else is in London? What else is in London? It does look beautiful, dude. It looks medieval. It looks like a scene from Harry Potter. That's what it looks like. Hogwarts, right. Hogwarts, London. There you go. I forgot. I haven't watched Harry Potter in so long. See, the thing is, I think over the weekend, I'm going to sit down and watch a movie and just enjoy a movie. Oh, Texas would be great. Texas would be awesome too. But then I turn on the movie and I cannot for the life of me pay attention, bro. Like, it's so difficult to just like actually try to care about the movie. And so it's like I'm trying, dude. I'm really trying to give a crap about the movie. So if I turn on Harry Potter, I would just like not pay attention. Like, it's a real issue. I'm actually concerned about the attention span thing because it's not good. It's not good. Like, I need to be able to put my phone away for 2 hours and just listen. It's bad, dude. It's bad. But again, it comes back to the conversation about it's also obsession, you know? Can we all agree that Manchester is better than London? I have no opinion on that. So maybe it is, maybe it's not. Amit avoids me like the plague. Oh my God, Guitar a little bit. Guitar, you've been joining the chat like recently, right? Like a month. I think you're new to the chat. You haven't been here as long as some of these other people. Downtown Abbey, yes, exactly, Downtown Abbey. I'm seeing your comments now. Weatherspoons in London, okay. Come to Miami or Columbia. I actually have a friend who's in Columbia who told me to come down there. Columbia would be fun, dude. Columbia would be fun. Colombian women. Columbia would be very fun, dude. Miami would also be fun too. I've never taken Adderall in my life. I've never taken all this energy that I have right now to talk for 3 hours. It's based on nothing unnatural, dude. It is. I've never taken. I'm scared of Adderall. Like, I'm scared of cocaine. I'm scared about, like, I would never do that stuff. It's just, it's scary to me. Like, I feel like I'm going to die if I do it. So I've never done that. I guess energy drinks. I like energy drinks, but like, it's not, I didn't have an energy drink today. It's really when I get going and I start talking, I just start talking. Like, I like the communicate. It just keeps going. And then eventually I have to stop, but I've never taken Adderall before. Turks and Caicos would be fun, but I feel like you do that when you're more rich and you can like really enjoy like that. You got to go with your boys and like, that's not like a meetup place, but that would be fun. Come to Houston. I've been to Texas many times, dude. I think Texas would be easy to, do a meetup. Texas would be fun. But I've been to Texas many, many times. Where's Bitcoin right now? Bitcoin is 66.74. Okay. Yeah, Texas would be cool. Miami would be cool too. We got to figure it out. We talking to midstream meetup? Yes. We got to figure it out, dude. We got to figure out the domestic ones and then the international ones. I think New York's going to be an easy one. But we just I gotta plan it out, all this stuff. But once I like decide we're doing it, then I'll get the plans and I don't know, maybe we meet up at a restaurant or something. I reserve a table. I don't know. I gotta figure out like how we would do it. Or maybe a more public area so a lot of us can be there. We'll figure it out. Jake says I took half of an Adderall at a party. I felt normal afterwards. Maybe should have tipped me off about the ADHD diagnosis I got a year later. My friends used to take Adderall when they were fucking studying, the mechanical engineers. And they'd be like, you want some? And I'd be like, well, I'm just sending emails. So I don't think I need any Adderall. Even though I would stay up pretty late. But now I can't do that. Now I need to sleep. Now I can't stay. In college, I could stay up late. Now I've done the market open running on no sleep. Like in Vegas, when I did SoFi earnings in October 2023, I did it off of 0 sleep. And it was also a pretty wild night. But I was able to do it. It's just like if I'm at home and I try to sleep at like 4 a.m. and then I wake up at 7 to get ready for the market open, it's going to be a crappy market open. And I know that. So it's like, I'd rather sleep on time because I'm just not going to be on my game because I'm going to be tired. So I need to be able to sleep. Do you think now is a good time to buy Intel? TJ just bought a couple thousand shares. I mean, look, 30 to 35, I think is reasonable if you're going long. If you're just trying to get like a couple stock gain, I would, maybe wait for a little pullback back to 30. But if you're going long, I think Intel's back to 50 in a year or two, as long as, shit doesn't hit the fan. Intel was at 50 for the longest, dude. Then it fell to 25, then it went right back to 50. It stayed at 50 for years. And then it's come down recently because TSM's been eating the lunch. So I like Intel in this range, but depends on if you want to go long or just a short-term trade. How much do you sleep, Amit? So I would say I sleep by, it varied. This week, there was 1 week I slept at, one day I slept at 9 and I woke up at 5 this week. So I had a good sleep, or it was more like 10 o'clock. I woke up at 5. But on average, I would say I sleep at 12 and I wake up at 6. I would say that's on average. On average, yeah. 12, 6:30, or more like 12 at 5:30. So I want to get to sleep by like 11 latest though. And then just wake up hopefully by 4:30. Back to 30, I bought some calls. The only reason I'm saying this is because Intel is very range bound. I don't think it has to go back to 30. I think the pump it got this week was because of the Trump comments on Taiwan. But if those comments end up, not really mattering, then Intel could come back down, right? Because the whole reason it pumped is because Taiwan might not get as much support from the US. But granted, if you have a decent expiration, it could have time for the thesis to play out. Oh, Palantir Weekly's at 11. I forgot. I have another stream. In my head, I'm like, okay, so we're doing the stream and I'll be done soon. It's like, nope, we'll be right back to talking in fucking 5 hours. And we got to do Palantir Weekly. We got Amir, who doesn't really like that Dan Ives said $50. He thinks that the price target is stupid. And I can understand it from a valuation perspective, but I don't think it's stupid. I think Dan Ives is just getting in front of this train before it really takes off. So it'll be a fun debate kind of going back and forth. And Vince is going to come on and he's going to play with his model, trying to figure out how we can justify $50. So that'll be a fun show to go deep into. I love hanging out with people who won't give me the time of day in future. I've done this before. In general, I think all of us meeting each other would be super cool. Oh, Zankles, I saw your super chat for $2. I'm sorry I'm reading it now, but you still stayed till the end of the stream, so I appreciate it. What are your predictions heading into Tesla earnings? I don't know how to answer this because numbers are not going to be amazing, but Wall Street already knows the numbers because we got the deliveries last week. So it's not about the numbers. It's about the narrative about FSD. And I think Elon, if he announces even 1 or 2 updates that we don't know about, the street will like it. However, it's up 50% in the past month. So expecting another 10% is just asking a lot. But granted, the technical analysis Jason did said, look, if it can hold these levels, it has the momentum. So Elon's got to lay down the hammer on Optimus or FSD something to get the street excited. And if they do, hopefully it'll do well. Daniel, thank you for the $5 super chat. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you as well, Daniel. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Ray says, hey, is there a Mint meetup different than the Chris Patreon meetup? Because I can't afford to do both. Me and Chris were thinking of doing something together as well. So maybe it's combined with Chris's Patreon crew. He wants to do something in October, but that's the India month. So I don't know. It's going to be tough coming back from India and trying to do something. So I don't know. He's thinking Vegas, though. Maybe that's the wave. Bucker says Tesla holding 230 to 225 is key. Yeah, where did it end today? It was 239, right? Nvidia ended 117. Tesla 238. No, 239.2. CrowdStrike 302 after hours. Why is Grindr up 2.4% after hours? Who the fuck was listening to my Grindr thesis and decided to buy Grindr? There's no reason this thing should be up to. Dude, someone in the chat bought a shit ton of Grindr. This is not a stock that moves up 2% after hours. There's no way. There's no way, dude. Someone listened to my thesis and bought 1 million shares. It wasn't me. It wasn't fucking me. Ridiculous, dude. Ridiculous. I need this thing at 950, dude. If it gets to 950, I'm buying 1,000 shares. I don't care. I don't care if I lose $9,500. I'm at this point, I think I'm going to be right on this. Not right enough to put $50,000 into options like some other companies, but this one, I'm going to put at least 10 grand in it. Like, I don't care. I think I'm right on the thesis, dude. I just hate the valuation so much. And I wish I had discovered Grindr before the fucking run up, before they increased their guidance by 50% on the investor day. I just really wish I had looked at it. See, you guys think I'm gay. Like, if I was really gay, I would have known about Grindr, but I don't. And if I did, I would have been excited to listen, dude. Chris, thank you for the $5 super chat. You guys don't have to send the super chats, but thank you so much for the 5 Dolores. It's fucking Derek, dude. Watch Derek be behind my back. He texted me a screenshot one day when Grindr's at $20 and he was like, thanks for the DD. Like, that's probably what's going to happen, dude. Fucking great. There's no reason it should be up 2%. It was down 1% of the day. Why is it up 2.4%? Why? There's like, this is like, I mean, I know stocks can move like that, but like, why, dude? Like, someone had to buy it for it to go up. Someone had to fucking buy it. Amit discovered Grindr a long time ago. He means when he found out it's a public company. You know what got me on Grindr to be like, what got me onto the stock? I just saw the CEO speak on CNBC one day. And it was just that simple, dude. And then I just thought about it when he came off as genuine. And maybe I'm reading his whole character wrong, dude. But at the end of the day, this is like investing in people, right? And I'm listening to him and I'm like, I just think he's like, he's not bullshitting. And then I started doing the research. And I thought maybe there's something. Maybe. Wide bid ask and spread. Yeah, I get it. I get the liquidity, but like, I don't know, dude. I feel like someone might have come in and said they're gonna put some money. Did you buy Grindr? No, I don't have any Grindr, dude. I don't like this price. I hate this price so much. I don't think it's worth 1186 right now. I mean, the growth maybe justifies it, but I'm not getting in after it's up 40%. Like, philosophically, I just can't I can't do that. But we need a little correction in the stock, get us back to $9, and then we're in, bro. And it's going to be one of the most contrarian bets over the next couple of years. But I think it's $2 billion. Match Group is $8 billion. Grindr to $24, which would be $4 billion in the next 2 years, which is a double. Let's say 3 years, a double in 3 years. That's not bad at all. That's very good. A double in 3 years. I think that would be cool. I should have bought Rivian, bro. I should have. See, this is another reason I'm annoyed. I could have got in at Rivian at fucking $10 when I said there was a thesis. Like Futbucker also thought there was a thesis. And like, yes, I would have made some money from Rivian, sure, but it's less about the money. It's more about me validating to myself, hey, maybe I can pick some stocks, right? Maybe I'm not horrible at picking stocks. And like, the more wins you get, and Palantir and Robinhood have been awesome, but the more wins you stack up, and you're not going to get all of them right. PayPal, obviously, didn't get right. But like, the more wins you get, the more you feel, hey, maybe I can like actually evaluate a company. And at Rivian, at $9, I think it was $10 when I put the big screenshot on Twitter, and like there was literally 1,000 replies of saying this is burning cash every month. I let it get to me, dude. I really let it get to me. I let it, because like then I looked at the CEO, and the CEO also, I felt like he was kind of cringy, so I didn't like that. And then I'm like, yeah, that's true. They're spending, they're not going to be profitable for the next like 2 years. By then, they're bankrupt. I didn't know Volkswagen would come out of nowhere and say, here's $5 billion. I mean, but then again, maybe that's what it takes to pick individual stocks. And maybe you would have, like, if you had actually done some more research into Rivian, you would have realized they have strategic partnerships coming up. Now it's fucking $17. It was $9, dude. At one point, it got to $8, $8.26. It was $8.26 in April, bro. In April, like, and I kind of feel like Grindr is the same situation. I know it's a different business, but like, I feel like it's contrarian enough to match a thesis. And so it would have been nice to have Rivian under the belt too, bro. That would have been fun. And so I kind of want to think of, is Grindr an opportunity as well? We need to get you into horse racing. It's a Palantir play. Oh my gosh, dude. I still kind of think Rivian's going to struggle though. Like, just because they have more money doesn't mean they're going to win, especially if this Trump EV thing happens. But at least I would have doubled in like 2 months, dude. That would have been a fucking nice win. I don't care if it's doubling $1 to $2. Like, if you pick a stock and it doubles and you made some money, even if it's $1, it just gives you some validation that's like, oh, I saw something and I was able to like put my money where my mouth is. And then something good happened. And then you get more lessons every time you get one of those right, because you're like, next time you analyze a company, like, am I making sure the principles on how I got these right are here? And if those principles are not here, that's okay. That doesn't mean the investment is gone. Is there something else I'm not seeing? And it just forces you to really think hard. And every time, that's just so important. Every single time. Ray, thank you for becoming a channel member. I appreciate it. Shout out to Ray. Ray, you've been in the chat for years now. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you for becoming a channel member. Thank you, Ray. I appreciate it. And again, if you guys didn't get a membership, I think if Derek's 50 memberships are still open, you can check it out. Forget Rivian, you should have loaded on Tesla. Yeah, but the thing about Tesla is like buying Tesla at 140 now that it's at 250. That's not like, it's Tesla, right? It's like that doesn't take that much. It takes the insight and all that shit, but it's not like something people would think is crazy. Like you bought Tesla. Like it's Tesla. We all know Tesla's like eventually it was gonna get it. I came pretty quick, right? That's what she said. But like it's gonna take, like we all knew it would get back here. Rivian was the amount of hate under that post, dude. Everyone hated that. There were some people in there that were like, no, I actually think you're on. I got DMs from people saying, dude, I'm in Florida. I see a bunch of Rivians. Like, I think you're on to something. But I let the doubters like really get to me. This was the post right here. This was the post. And for good reason. I mean, like they had a good bear thesis, but right here, look, it got 380,000 views, tons of replies. Everyone, look at the cash burn versus the balance sheet. Cash that is being burned every single minute. Like, it's just all these. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Are they ever going to stop burning through cash like madmen? It's like all these comments should have been screaming to me, oh my God, all of these people believe the same shit. And if that's the case, if I can find one reason why these people are wrong, it's not that they're incorrect for thinking this. It's just that they're all thinking the same thing. Then there is an asymmetrical opportunity in this equity. But I didn't think like that. And so now when I bring up Grindr and everyone's like, Grindr, I like it. Like I want to like keep being upset. Like I want everyone to hate it just so I can see maybe there's something different here. But that should have been a sign, dude. Like, yes, it's a good bear case that they were burning cash, but like, I think this is what makes you a good investor. Like, can you see something like when Druckenmiller was buying Nvidia at 140 pre-split, like in October 2022, he had to really think this GPU thing was going to become real. And pretty much everyone had written it off after crypto crash, because the reason Nvidia pumped to the first time when they did the 4-for-1 split when it was $800 in October 2021 was because Bitcoin was at 70,000 and people were buying the GPUs for crypto. Crypto crashed. What's the use case for GPUs? Druckenmiller was like, well, AI. And he saw that before everybody else, right? So I guess you got to see to keep it going. All right. I think I got to end it here. I've been talking for a long time. Thank you everybody for being here. This is awesome. Appreciate it. Futz says Tesla was throwing cash at the window by the bucketfuls early on too. That's correct. They ended up succeeding. And so the question was, if you thought Rivian was going to be able to succeed, even though they were burning through cash, it was a good investment. And then Volkswagen came in and said, here's a bunch of cash. So got to be able to see some stuff before it happens. All right. That's it for me. I'm out. Thank you, everybody. This was fun. Thank you for listening to me rant for 3 hours. Hopefully you got some entertainment. I love you all. It means the world to me. This is the most fun, unemployed life that anyone can live. And we're going to keep working, keep grinding, keep making this shit as big as possible. And we're going to keep grinding, if you know what I mean. We're going to keep grinding. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. I'll see you guys 11 p.m. for Palantir Weekly. And that's it for me. Bye, everyone. Have a good weekend. Good night.